Enemy ready. Moving up.
टीम है कर देंगे
बंदा रेड वाइट है करंट क्या हूं
Extended heavy mag here. Level 2.
enemies
Optics here. Close range. Got our first worm food combat. Faster, faster, faster.
हेवी मैग नहीं रूम बंदा हां
The rings are still on the trigger.
Charging on my shields.
there's one
Watch my back, pals. Still right here. Rings near, darling. We've got a whole 45 seconds of free time.
జనాలు కంటిన్యూ కూడా కనిపిస్తలేదు
Ring
ముందే
around the
ఉంటారు చూడు
corner and we've got 30 seconds.
ఇగో అక్కడ ఉన్నారు
Got an enemy out there.
Out.
నేను లేని చూడండి కదా
The champion has been
10
eliminated.
seconds. I'm just ahead.
Let's be honest. I'm the only real champion here.
పారిపోయారేంది
అలా బతుకులు అంతే బ్రో
కొట్టారు ఏం పారిపోతారు
Now, rápidamente.
ఇక్కడ నా బ్యాటరీ కూడా తీసుకో
నేనే
ఏదే బ్రో నేను తీసుకునేటి కూడా తీసుకుంటారు
అంతసేపు అట్లనే ఉన్నావు ఏం తీసుకోవట్లేదు
పడేస్తున్నా నేను పడేసేద్దాం
Extended light mag here.
నాకేం తెలుసు నువ్వు తీసుకుంటున్నావు కదా అట్లనే ఉన్నావు అంటే నేను తీసుకోవాలి నేను తీసుకున్నాను
అది ఇలా కొడదాం దా ఎంత దూరం మారిపోతారు చూద్దాం దా
Not for long, pal.
ఒక లూట్ చేస్తుంటా అంటే కాదు అది లూట్ అయ్యి పోతూనే అన్నారు లూట్ చేసుకుంటా
అటు పోయారా
ముగ్గట్టే సౌండ్ పడుతుంది ఇట పోయారు దొంగనాలు కొట్టారు
జిప్ సౌండ్ వచ్చింది జిప్
లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్
అదే లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ జిప్ సౌండ్ వినిపించింది జిప్ తీసుకొని పోయారు
Enemy spotted. Way out there, like.
ఓ, మళ్ళీ టవర్ ఎక్కుతున్నారు దా ఫాస్ట్
New kill leader.
ఆ పైన
Enemy spotted. Way out
ఫాస్ట్
there, no cucarachas.
ఇగో ఇక్కడ దుక్కు ఓకేనా
40
ఇక పైన తిరుగుతున్నావు
ఎవరు లేరు పైన
దిగకు నేను దిగట్లే
మొత్తం కింద ఉన్నారు
పని లేదు కదా పిచ్చిలోకి వెళ్ళి కొట్టాడు ఇంకా నుంచి
Arc star.
వన్
Down that one.
స్క్వాడ్ అయిపోయింది
బ్యాటరీ వేస్తాను.
అరే ఆరిజిన్ నాతో రావచ్చు కదా.
ఇది తీసుకో, ఇది తీసుకో.
సరే ఆరిజిన్ నాతో రావచ్చు కదా కొట్టడానికి. రాకుండా కూర్చున్నాడు. ఇంకో ఫుల్ డెమోస్, 2 డెమోస్ అయిపోండి. ఇంకో కింద పంపించు.
Charging up my shields.
తేడా కొడుతుంది. సరే
బెంగళూరు కొట్టింది కదా నేను. బెంగళూరు కొట్టింది అది.
వాడు ఇందాక కొట్టింది బెంగళూరు.
బెంగళూరు ఆడ కదా. ఆడే నన్ను కొట్టింది కూడా.
వాడు
ముంగడికి వస్తలేడు వాడు ఆరిజిన్ వాడు.
Time for experimentation, evaluation, and a wee cup of tea.
I've got everything you need.
Time to show 'em what we're made of. Which is just blood and guts, really.
Introducing your champion.
My heart beats stronger with each challenge I overcome.
Jump master. Not my first launch, though I usually launch in the other direction. We do this for science. Numpty there. This could get interesting. Be ready, mute.
First blood.
Peacekeeper here. First
ఇక్కడ
blood.
సీలింగ్.
Evo shield here. Level 2. Climb in here.
Beginning ring countdown.
Shields recharging. Been downed.
Adapted. New kill reader.
Enemy down. Reloading.
That was. This won't hurt. Hold on. We're close to the ring. 30 seconds left.
Shields recharging.
Extended energy mag here. Level 4.
I'm touching myself up.
10 seconds to the ring. It's close at least.
And so ends the champion's reign.
Ring's coming in.
Extended heavy mag here. Level 2.
Rejuvenating. That way calls to me.
ఇక్కడ పోదాం.
Copy that.
Attention. Delivery care package.
చందు బ్రో
Care package coming in.
మన రీట్రేసింగ్ క్వాలిటీ బ్యాలెన్స్డ్ అవన్నీ ఉంటాయి చూసినావా అది డైరెక్ట్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్లోనే ఇచ్చిండు AMDలో ఇప్పుడు AMD సాఫ్ట్వేర్లోనే ఇచ్చిండు నేను క్వాలిటీలో ఆడుతున్నప్పుడు
Save me a
ఇక్కడ ఉంది
క్వాలిటీలో ఆడుతున్నప్పుడు పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ గేమ్ మస్తు క్లీన్గా వచ్చింది సార్ గేమ్ నాకు
I'm jumping out here. Watch out for friction burnout.
My road ends here.
నేను ఎట్లా డ్రైవర్ రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది
అక్కడ ఉన్నారు.
Spotted a bomb
నా దగ్గర
hole over there.
అన్లాక్ ఉంది
నా దగ్గర కార్ ఇంకా స్లీపర్ ఏమో అంటున్నాను సెల్స్
తెలిసి 2 కలుగుతావా
పైకి ఎక్కిందా
జాన్ పైన
And that was the last one.
ఓ చూసుకో
అరేంటే వెళ్ళిపోతున్నా చెప్పాలి కదా
వీడు కింద ఈడు ఉన్నాడు కదా నీ మంది నుంచే కదా వాడిని కొడుతుంది
Recharging my shield.
3 seconds
మొత్తం ఫినిషర్ ఇస్తుండు
Let's go this way.
Killed a million. Got our pal's banner.
రివైజ్ తర్వాత చూస్తుంది.
లోపల ఉన్నాడు
వెళ్ళిపో ఇచ్చారా అయితే బ్రిడ్జ్ ఇచ్చారా బ్రిడ్జ్ ఉంది కదా సార్ డైరెక్ట్ లోపలికి వెళ్ళిపోతాను ఏమంటే చూస్తుండ వాడు
నా వెంటే పడుతున్నాడు
Now for the right choice.
అబ్బా చూస్తుంది
Getting shot at.
అయిపోయింది అన్ని కొట్టాం మాట్లాడే
తప్పించుకోవాలి లోపల
వాడు ఇంకెక్కడికి వెళ్ళిపోయాక
ఏమో లూజ్ చేస్తావు పోయి
Need to recharge my
చూద్దాం
shield.
డ్రోన్ విన్నాడుగా
పైకి
Jump pad here.
ఇక్కడే ఉంది
ఓయ్
Taking shots.
సరే చేద్దాం ఆడుకో అట్లా
Myself up.
నువ్వు లేవు
మెడికిట్ ఉంటాయి వాటివా
They went straight. Recharging.
నేను మెడికిట్ వేసుకుంటున్నా
Patching myself up.
అయ్యో అరుస్తారు బ్లాక్ చేయవద్దు బ్లాక్ చేయ
Recharging my shield.
నాకు బ్రో నేను లూట్ నాకు ఇంకా లూట్ నాలే ఉండండి ఇప్పుడు నాకైందా
నాక ఒకటి చేసా ఇంకొకటి ఉన్నాడు టీమేట్ ఇద్దరు ఉన్నారు ఇంకా నాకు సిరెంజెస్ కావాలి
Next ring's not very close.
సిరెంజెస్ ఉంటే నేను బతకొచ్చు
Need to recharge my shield.
1 minute ఉంది వెళ్ళిపోదామా ఎవడ్రాయుడు
Eyes are open, bro.
కొట్టు వన్ కొట్టు వన్ షాట్
All those hooligans are down for the count.
సిరంజ్ లో ఉన్నాను దగ్గర ఇది ఒక సిరంజ్ చేసుకొని కొడతా జిమ్ టవర్ ఎక్కేద్దాం.
On your feet, darling.
నేను స్టాండ్ చేసుకొని మెడికెట్ వేసుకోవాలి
Rings far.
మీరు తర్వాత వేసుకుంటా
Follow me.
Patching myself up.
ఇదిగో.
The next ring's quite a trek. It's only 45 seconds.
మెడ్ కిట్స్ ఇందులో
వాళ్ళు నీ దగ్గరనే పెట్టుకో
Just a
అవసరం
healing up.
అయిపోయింది ఆ లూట్ అయిపోయింది
30 seconds.
మనం ఇంకా పోవాలి
అదే రైట్ సైడ్ పోదాం. seconds.
మెడికెట్స్ ఉన్నాయి నా దగ్గర
ఒకటి ఇస్తా. ఇగో తీసుకో ఫస్ట్.
ఫస్ట్ వెళ్ళిపోదాం జారుకుంటూ వేసుకుందాం బ్రో
అంటే అన్ని కోరుకున్నా.
Let's head in that direction, darling.
డైరెక్ట్ ఆడు ఉండదు మరి చూడు
Healing up.
అదే నాది ఇందాక రెండోగా నువ్వు
ఇక్కడ వస్తున్నారు.
Spotted what we science folk call a bag.
వస్తురుగా లైట్ తీసుకో
ఇక్కడికి
జాగ్రత్త
వెళ్ళిపోతాం
వెళ్ళిపోతాం
Let's
డైరెక్ట్.
head in that direction.
Patching myself up.
Oh, never mind, darlings.
Care package coming in.
షీల్డ్ వేసుకో బ్రో జారుకుంటా అట్లీస్ట్
Shields recharging.
ప్లస్ టోప్ లేదు.
Patching myself up.
అట్లా నువ్వు
ఇటు చెప్పాను కదా మార్క్ చేసే కదా.
That way he calls to me.
ఏమేమో మ్యాచ్ స్టార్ట్ చేసే ముందే రోహిత్ ఉన్నాడు అంటే నువ్వు మొత్తం నోట్ చేసుకొని వెళ్ళిపోయావు
లేడు
ఎట్లా కమ్యూనికేట్ చేయాలి ఈయన బ్రో ఈయన మొత్తం మ్యూట్ చేసుకొని వెళ్ళిపోయాడు
నేను
నేను పడతా మ్యాక్సిమం
అటు వచ్చేసా.
Time I'm down.
On your feet, darling. Plenty of fight left in you.
Patching myself up.
నీ దగ్గర ఆల్టర్నేటర్ ఏమైనా ఉందా?
లేదు బ్రో ఆత్రి ఉన్నాయి ఆత్రి సిస్టమ్ ఆత్రి
ఇగో syringes.
A syringe here.
బాబా నిద్ర వస్తుందంటయ్యా.
బ్యాటరీస్ కాదు.
Shield battery here.
45 seconds. Rings
నా
close.
దగ్గర షీట్స్ బాగానే ఉన్నాయి
సెల్స్ ఉంటాయి బడి. సెల్స్.
ఒక 4
Shield cell here.
బ్యాటరీస్ అట్లా న్యూ యూజ్.
Eye sharp. The ring's near and closing in
నాకు
30.
డ్రోన్ ఉంది
ఇక ఇక్కడే ఫైట్ అవుతుంది. ఇక మన ముందు
There's a need jet.
లైట్ తీసుకో శాండ్విచ్ అయితే కొట్టకు శాండ్విచ్ అయితే పోకు పోకు పోకు
వాళ్ళు దూరం ఉన్నారు వీళ్ళు.
వీడియో కూడా కొట్టు
వాళ్ళు
1 2 3
చామరాక
Enemy down.
ఇక్కడ ఉన్నారు ఇద్దరు.
లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ రా కరా బ్రో నాతో రా నేను చెప్తారా
వస్తున్నాడు పుష్ చేస్తున్నాడు చూడు.
చూస్తున్నా
There's a wee numpty.
ఒక క్రాక్ బ్లడ్ అన్నాడు
Reloading. PSS.
Watch yourself. There's another squad.
అరే వెనకాల చేపట్టాడు కొడుతుంటాను
దా క్యూ కొట్టు. క్యూ అంటే క్యూ కొట్టు.
వస్తున్నా ట్రోలర్ తీసుకున్నా ఆడు కిరాపర్ తీసుకొని పోతుండే బ్రో
Patch him.
నెక్స్ట్ నేను
వీళ్ళిద్దరు 2v2 మనం.
అక్టన్ గారిని చంపేసిన
అవును
నాకైనా
2v2 చేద్దామా వీళ్ళు ముందున్న వాళ్ళు.
చేద్దాం. వాడు లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ నుంచి ఒకడు సెంటినల్ తోటో దేనితో కొడుతుండు. అదో
We're
బాధ
all
ఉంది
inside
మనకి.
the ring. Fantastic.
వచ్చారు క్లోజ్.
గ్రనైట్ ఉంటాయివా వాళ్ళు లోపలికి
వేసాను
వెళ్ళిపోతారు.
ఆల్రెడీ.
అరే వెళ్ళిపోయలే. నేను అక్టన్ గారిని అంట కొద్దిగా తీసుకుంటాను.
నేట్స్ ఉన్నాయా?
నేట్సే తీసుకుందామని.
Patan.
2 other squads remain.
వీళ్ళ నూక్తే కింద వాళ్ళు కింద కొడతారు కదా. పైన ఉన్న వాళ్ళు కింద నెట్టారు. నాకు
I downed an enemy.
లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ లో ఒకటి ఉంది.
One
అరే నాకు
HP
అది పడ్డది.
1 HP
1 second. We got this.
ప్రెస్ చేసి
Whole squad's down. We made the right choices.
అటు సైడ్ పడ్డది బ్రో
Last
నాకు.
squad.
స్లో
Less
అయిపోయినా.
than 30 seconds.
Rings nearby. Well, I mean, they're killing it. Reloading.
ఎంతమంది?
ఒకటే ఉన్నాడు. ఒక్కడే కాదు అందరు కింద తినిపించారు మళ్ళా. జిప్లైన్ పెట్టుకొని వచ్చారు కొడుకులు.
అక్కడక్కడ
Heads up. The ring's moving.
బయట ఉన్నారు.
నేను
బయట
వాళ్ళని జోన్లోకి రానియద్దు
ఇటు
అంతే.
వస్తున్నారు.
See in our orbit.
గ్రెనేట్ ఒకటి స్ట్రక్. ఒక నాకు కొడుతున్నాడు. ఒకడే ఉన్నాడు. నువ్వు
అవుతుంది. అన్ని షాట్లు పట్టినవి. ప్రతి షాట్ కొట్టేవాడు. నేను బ్రోకేను నన్ను కొట్టలేదు సార్.
You are the Apex champions.
ఆల్టర్నేటివ్కి మ్యాగుంటే అయిపోయింది.
డియోలో విన్ అయినామా మనం.
స్కీపర్ ఇప్పుడైనా 20లో
చెన్నై రైతుని తీసుకుంటూ నేను ఎవరితో ఆడాలి.
Red is నాదే. నువ్వు బెంగళూరు అనుకో. శాబారా. బాగుంటుంది డ్రెస్. Lazy. Cari memang cari.
There's a win out there waiting for us.
The mysteries of space. Solved a few of them, and there's one more to go.
We've got a job to do, so shift your carcass.
This is your champion.
Dinna fash yourself, cause I'm the best. Got you on Jump master. As above, so below.
I'm the jump master. Follow me.
నాదే నా నా క్యారెక్టర్ లేదయ్యా, మీరే అనుకోండి.
ఇలాగా
నా క్యారెక్టర్ నేను ఆడొచ్చానయ్యా, మీరే
I say
ఉంటారు.
fasten your seatbelts, but it's not that kind of ride.
నా క్యారెక్టర్ నువ్వు తీసేసుకున్నావు, నేనేం ఆడాలి.
Enough landing around.
సర్లే తీసుకో నెక్స్ట్ మ్యాచ్ ఊరికే వాట్ పోయింది కావాలని చేస్తున్నాడు మ్యాచ్. సరే మ్యాచ్ తీసుకో, ఊరికి ఎందుకు అనుకోవాలి.
Thanks, Jumpkins.
తీసుకో లెజెండ్, తీసుకోండి లెజెండ్. రేపు ఆడాలని అసలు నా కోరికని పగల పెట్టావు.
అరే బ్రో వదులుతున్నారు, నేను జంప్ మాస్టర్ తీసుకోమని చెప్తున్నా, అందుకే అంతే, ఏం చేయలే.
Keep calm, darlings. We're already inside the next round.
Extended heavy mag here. Heavy ammo here.
Oh, me and Newty could use that.
Meow. I think it's that. చేతులు ఎంత ఫ్రీజీగా ఉన్నాయి.
అయ్యో ఎట్టుకెళ్ళి వచ్చిండు, సౌండ్ కూడా రాలేదు మనకి.
ఏడైతే
ఇటు ఉండొద్దు, అక్కడ
చంద్ర నీ సైడ్ వస్తున్నా చంద్ర.
ఎట్లా కొట్టలేదు అది,
వాడికి ఏం పాడు ఎరుచుతాడు
బ్రో.
నేను ఎట్లా చచ్చినా నేను అయ్యో అనుకుంటాడు. ఎవరు వస్తున్నారు? ఓ అదా షార్ట్ సారీ మై బ్యాడ్ మ్యాన్. చేతులు ఫ్రీజీగా ఉన్నాయి. ఇది బాగుంది.
బ్రో వాటి కోసం వెతుకుతున్నా నేను.
అడగాలి కదా, ఇస్తాను కదా.
Charging my shields.
ఇది చిన్న ప్లేస్ అంతగానే ఏముంటుంది నాకేం తెలుసు.
Heavy ammo here.
నీ లూట్ కి
Care package
మహారాజు
dropping from low orbit.
నన్ను అడగాలి.
ఈ చెద్దు మహారాజాడు
చందు ప్రో ప్లేయర్లే, టైం వచ్చినప్పుడే మాట్లాడతాను.
పైన ఏం వస్తుంది బ్రో?
Care package over there.
రివైవ్డ్ అమ్మా.
Care package over there.
ఐఎమ్ పుషింగ్ అంటున్నా.
Let's attack there.
నాకు లెవెల్ 2 షార్ట్ గన్ బోల్ట్ గన్ టైపు, లెవెల్ 2 ఓన్లీ.
వెళ్ళిపోండి అదే.
నీ దగ్గర లెవెల్ 2 ఉందా? నేను గోల్డ్ ఇస్తాను.
లెవెల్ 3 ఉంది.
బాగుంది.
2 ఎందుకు? హౌ
ఇవా ఇట్లా కొద్దిగా బుల్లెట్స్ ఆగుతాయి. ఓ
అచ్చా, ఆ స్పీడ్ తట్టుకోలేవా నువ్వు?
తట్టుకోలేను కదా, బుల్లెట్స్ ఆగిపోతాయి కదా, ఎక్కువ పోవు కదా బ్రో.
కొంతమంది అవుతున్నాడు. ఆఫ్లైన్ అనుకుంటా. ఇక్కడ ఒక టీం వచ్చింది.
Enemy trident over there.
అయితే
ఇటు వచ్చేది లేవా? ఓకే, నైస్ టైమింగ్.
అయ్యో
నువ్వు వెళ్ళిపోయినా? అయ్యా నేను వెళ్ళిపోయినా. నాకు
Shields.
నచ్చిన క్యారెక్టర్
Broken enemy shields. Reloading. Need to recharge my shield.
నా దగ్గర అయ్యో నా వెనకాల తెస్తాడు అయ్యాడు. రాజు మ్యాచ్ చంద్రరావు
Unleashing my
ఇంత
signal.
ఆశ లేదు.
Grenade flow.
ఏ తినట్లే, అటు ఉన్నాడు అప్పుడు.
అనుకున్నా ముగ్గురు కలిసి.
అరే నాకు 98 పడ్డది బ్రో దాంతో, లేకపోతే పడకపోతున్నావు. దాని పేరు ఏం పేరు,
నువ్వు ఎట్లా నచ్చినావు?
రిపీటెడ్ తోటి పడ్డది, 100 పడ్డది షార్ట్. మంచిగా మిరాజ్ కూడా నాకైతే ఉండ.
నా చేతులు కొంచెం క్లమ్జీగా ఉంది. స్పీడ్ ఇస్తలేదు. రెగ్యులర్ రాదు నీకు. ఎట్లా అనిపిస్తారు రే, తొత్తు అనిపిస్తుంది నీకు ఆడ. మన గ్రూప్ లో ఎవరో పేరు మార్చుకున్నారు.
Oh, aye, there's research afoot.
I've put the time in. I've earned my stripes. Listen and fight. Introducing your champion.
When you see me, you'll know it's the end. Or a new beginning. It's all relative, really. I'm Jump Master. Bless these jump jets. Hold on to your knickers, darlings.
బో
Daddy landed nearby.
ఓ ఒరే చూడు.
కాదు ముగ్గురు అటు పోతారనుకుంటే ఇటు తిరిగి
నా పక్కన దిగింది తెలుసా వీడు. మంచి వచ్చారు.
Oh no, did that hurt, darling?
లంజా ముండా तेरे horizon की తప్పం ఇది అన్యాయం.
Follow me if you want to win.
The place between life and death is where I feel most alive.
Oh my god.
Fancy a bit of a blather?
Introducing your champion.
Jump Master. Not my first launch, though I usually launch in the other direction.
Looking for me? Here I am. Looking for me? Here I am.
Hold on to your gills, darlings.
మ్యాక్స్ కష్టపడుతుండే ఏ లెజెండ్స్ ఆడాలని.
ఆయన
ఏంది?
నువ్వు రేట్ని తీసుకున్నావు ఎవరితో ఆడాలి? నాకు మ్యాప్కి ఒక లెజెండ్ ఉంటాడు.
అయితే
మ్యాప్కి ఒక లెజెండ్ ఆడతాను నేను. గన్లే నాకు.
ఎందుకు వచ్చినావు? ఉరుకు 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 కనుక్కో. అరే దూకినాడు.
వెనకాల కిల్స్ ఉన్నాయి. నేను కిల్ తీసుకుంటా.
Only taking it out. Reloading.
కొట్టు 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 ఒకడు ఓడాడు.
All those numpties are
వెనకాల
అరే వెనకాల వచ్చి బా లైఫ్ లైన్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది?
Blade, bullets,
Life.
or bare hands.
అరే మధ్యలో ఇరుకమైన బ్రో
Is always going to find you.
మధ్యలో ఇరుకమైన బ్రో
సౌండ్ రాలే అప్పుడు చూసుకుంటూ మ్యాక్స్ ఆడతావా?
అంత బ్రో దాని అవుతున్నాను.
దివాస్కి వస్తుందా?
సార్ సింగపూరే
ఎందుకు వచ్చి కంప్లీట్గా ఉంది మరి ఏదో వస్తున్నాడు రియాక్ట్ అయితే
ఏడే స్టార్ట్ అయింది బ్రో. 7 స్టార్ట్ కాదు. ఎప్పుడు వెళ్ళిపోయినా
పిచ్చి మనోడికి
మ్యాచ్ కూడా స్టార్ట్ కాలేదు.
పిచ్చి
Before we dive into the next
ఎందుకు సార్
series,
ఎంత పిచ్చి
talk
ఏది
about
అంటే
some
వై
teams on a more individual level. We have some really solid picks this time around. So, Genome, I'm going to be starting with you. Tell me who you chose and why.
Okay, so I'm having a look at Ascend. I mean, we've talked about them a little bit just here, right? They have been looking so
Jawan
good
ఎట్లుందంట?
today. A couple of wins under the belt, particularly on World's Edge. They've looked fantastic,
ఏంటి
right? They've got
Jawan
more than
ఎట్లుంది?
double the KD on World's Edge, and they've got
అలా
జవాన్ మంచిగా ఉందట బ్రో. రివ్యూ బాగా
so
ఇచ్చారు.
they are really winning so
Jawana?
many of their fights there.
జవాన్ బాగానే ఇచ్చారు.
And
అదేదో
putting up more than 1500
నవీన్
damage
పొలిశెట్టి
over
అని సినిమా చూడు. అది కూడా
2,000
మంచిగా
పూలశెట్టి
per
పూలశెట్టి
game on
ఎట్లున్నాయి మరి?
on World's Edge so
ఏ
far.
ఫస్ట్
It's
అతను
been
అంటారులే.
a really cool way to see them bringing back Valkyrie. Obviously, since the evac
ఉంటాయి
tower
ఎందుకు
induction into competitive play, we've
ఉంటాయి.
seen a lot less of that. But they're putting it back to good use as well as the Watson. And I
పూలశెట్టి
don't know if we've actually
పూలశెట్టి
seen
అనేది
Watson
చెప్పేది
meta before, or the character used when there hasn't been a significant amount of crypto in the lobby. And it just means if you've got an experienced Watson player like we do
బాక్సులు
here on
తీసుకుంటాను.
Ascend, they know a lot of spots. You can put the fences down in places where they're actually quite
వాడు
hard to
ఉంటే
break.
నవీన్ గాడు
And
ఉంటే
so
అన్ని
people
కామ్లే ఉంటాయి.
would rely essentially on the EMP as a bit of a crutch to get in there and remove some of those fortifications. They can no longer do that in this meta.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if them coming off of an
Inga love
insanely strong series will continue a snowball
Inga le.
into this next one. Love the choice of Ascend.
నాకేం
Dia,
వినిపిస్తలే
I
ఆయన
want to hear
కూడా.
from you as well. Which team do you have your eyes on?
I have changed my tune, Glitter, because I came in thinking
ఇవాళ గొడవ ఉందా లోపల?
energy, not sure exactly what they're
గొడవ
going to
అయితుంది
do, and
కదా.
honestly,
వస్తున్నా
thinking that they would
వస్తున్నా
underperform
అప్పుడు
again.
అక్కడ
And
బయట
yet,
లోడ్ చేసుకుంటా. బయట లోపల
as he so often tends to,
Alright, that's just
Sweet
fine.
has very much changed
Para,
the
para,
way
fight
that
type
I
of
think
item.
about NRG, and
లైట్ అమ్మ కావాలా?
80 ఉన్నాయి.
ఇస్తారా నేను నా దగ్గర
ఇక్కడ ఉన్నాయి లే, ముందు ఉన్నాయి,
are
ముందు.
looking
ముందు.
like
240
one
ఉన్నాయి నా
of
దగ్గర.
the favorite teams to go into the winners
వాడు
bracket
పైకి
coming
వస్తున్నా.
up on tomorrow. Or the exciting thing about this squad as
ఇక్కడ.
well is actually
వెనకాల
revealed
ఉన్నా.
to me by Command Center as jumping into their
డిజియో నా దగ్గర కూడా.
I'm noticing that Sweet is already coming in such a way that
నేను లేను మ్యాక్సీ.
they need to do as a team, but how they can influence other squads to do the dirty work for them. And to me, that's what separates good IGLing, good game plans
నాకెందుకు
from great game-winning environment creation. It's what Energy have
Yes,
been
sir,
focusing
no.
on so far, and while they've still got a little ways to go, I think that they're going to get even better than what we saw yesterday.
See some smiles on the faces of Energy down there. Very comfortable when it comes to those standings. Another really solid pick. Do agree they've had a phenomenal first day when it comes to that performance. Can't say enough about them, but for me, I had to make a choice as well, and I really want to talk about KCP. Okay, for me, the Pioneers have shown something yesterday that I was very excited about. It seemed like they were really finding their groove, not only in both of their series, but just in their rotations in general. They were finding themselves consistently in top positions, and that was mostly due to their macro. They were winning their contests, and they just looked strong overall. They're currently in a spot where they only need about 20 points to that threshold that Vicky and I were talking about in the last series to at least break into that top 20 based off of the last two events. And in the last two events, the Split 2 LAN and then Split 2 online league series, I can't talk right now, I'm so excited about this, they were evenly split when it comes to where their points were coming from based off of each map. And that is being literally duplicated here in this LAN now. They found themselves a top 3 finish on both maps in both series with really strong KP. And that type of consistency is the mark of a really solid squad. You combine that with the fact Nasky, obviously, the IGL. I mean, we love a team that knows how to have a good time, but Nasky said that he's also not afraid to use his teammate as a shield. They're just going to throw Zane at everything and know that Zane's going to come back successful here. So for me, I'm going to be keeping my eyes on KCP.
He strikes me as more of a battering ram than a shield, frankly.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, interesting that Nasky wants to take that route. Fair enough.
It's been working so far. So all really, really solid picks. Excited to see what any of these teams can do in the next series. But now that you guys know who we're looking at, let's take a look at the overall standings. This is everything that has happened here so far in the group stage. And I mean, the domination of Dreamfire. Some of these teams have just had incredible performances.
Yeah, look, Dark Zero haven't been taking
They've
been racking up the kills more than any other team. I think they were up to something
Armor
like
point
5.8
దొరికింది
kills
నాకు.
an average
Armor point.
It's just nuts. These guys are so
వద్దు నాకు
aggressive.
RE45
And,
దొరికింది.
that's probably part of the reason why they're not making it all the way to the end of the game, but they are getting there with the swagger points every single time. And I think part of that is due to Zero being enabled on
అయ్యా
now. And this is
స్నైపర్ తీసుకురా అయ్యా.
design you in the past. I think personally Horizon a better pick for the
Yeah.
controller.
Instant
They've got Zero, who I genuinely think is probably one of, if not the best playing player in the world. The team is sort of working.
గట్టిగా ఆడుతుండయా.
Absolutely. And they punish mistakes
Instant.
so well at every point. But they're not the only
కొట్టిండు
ones,
కూడా.
of course, that have given us something to look forward to. In fact, one of the teams I was looking forward to coming into the competition currently sits at 24th. Going next, and right above the DSG. Have had moments of brilliance.
క్యూ వేద్దాం అనుకున్నాను బయటకు రాలేదు కొందరు.
After split to playoffs, and if they want to crack into the top 20, if they want to secure a spot in the winner's bracket, today is the day to do it.
Yeah, and you saw that it was Alliance right there on the bubble, followed closely by Fnatic for the top 20, bottom 20 split. So they've got 2 more series to try and get those points on the board as we see where everybody else is currently shaking out. Now I know we talked about the teams that we're going to be keeping our eyes on, but it's time for talent predictions. Which teams do we think are going to be taking this next series home? And I'm excited to see what you guys chose for this one. I know what I said. We'll get them pulled up here. Talk to me through your choice first, Genome.
Well, you saw them right up there at the top of the scoreboard. It's no surprise. I'm going with the Chinese team, of course, Dreamfire. They have been just absolutely dominating these lobbies, and I think this could be another one. It looks like I'm not alone in that prediction.
Evidently not. I went with XSET, and for similar reasons, albeit they haven't been as dominant as Dreamfire during the competition this week, and yet I don't feel that XSET have really fully reached their potential as of so far.
Glimpses of brilliance I've seen
Glimpses.
out of them.
That's a great way to put it. We have moments where it's clear that they're playing the macro really well, and yet they haven't really been in positions that I call God spots so far, and that's what XSET have really relied on, is just out-positioning their opponents. Maybe it's something about the ring reads, maybe they're getting warmed up, but they've already separated themselves by a good margin from how shaky they were during Split 2 playoffs, and they'll go a bit further.
All right, well, it looks like there's some more casters in agreement with you guys. Dreamfire, XSET, Moist, and Ironblood Gaming on this side. For myself, I chose NRG. They were your team to watch, but for me, I mean, a 20-kill game right out the gate when we got to see them in their C and D grouping. I mean, like we've said, overall, their performance has just had such an insane uptick that I think if they can carry that into today, would not be surprised in the least if they were.
Well, I think it's really important for NRG that all three of them are showing up, right?
Yes.
In the past, I feel like it's no surprise to anybody really that Guild was really the frag of that team, and it felt like at times Sweet and Nathan were falling behind. At points throughout this tournament so far, we've seen all three of them in the top four leaders for the tournament, and that I think means that NRG are here with a very good chance here at the champs.
We've seen a lot
like
of
a repeater or long bond, bro.
Specifically on Stormpoint, and since that's where we're starting, I think it's worth noting how NRG are going to interact with the rest of the map, because landing over by checkpoint, they aren't anymore. They've got a contest off in North Pad, so there's Exit and Cascade that don't typically rotate out aggressively, so it should give NRG a lot more flexibility and options to position themselves well, as long as we're going up to the north or even to the east. As soon as they go south, they have to run into KCP over by Mill, and that's where I could see them running into a bit of trouble.
I mean, obviously, there's far too many teams for us to talk about individually. We even saw all of the E6 fans in the crowd getting hyped to watch Element 6 in this next series. But if there's any other team that you at home or in the stream want to be keeping your eyes on, make sure that you are checking out our award-winning multi-view tool. It'll be exactly what you need to do. Just that
అడిగినారా హెడ్ సెట్ ఏమంటుంది తెలుసా అయ్యా రియంబర్స్మెంట్ కూడా ప్రస్తుతానికి ఇస్తలేరు మీరే కొనుక్కోవాలి హెడ్ సెట్ అని చెప్తుండు కొనుక్కోండి మన నేను తెలుసు కదా రామ్ నా గురించి ఒక్కట్లో వస్తాయి నేను అది నీ ఇష్టం అయ్యా నేనేమన్నా రిపేర్ చేయించుకోనికి రాదంటావా ఎవరా ఇది చెట్టు వన్ టైం ఈ ఆఫీస్ హెడ్ సెట్ కూడా దొబ్బిందిరా ఆఫీస్ హెడ్ సెట్ మొన్నటిదాకా నేను ఇది ఒక చెవు పోయిందని ఆఫీస్ హెడ్ సెట్ వాడుతున్నా అని చెప్పిన ఇప్పుడు ఆఫీస్ హెడ్ సెట్ దొబ్బింది ఈ సెట్వా ఆఫీస్ హెడ్ సెట్ మీరు చెప్పేది నాకు వినబడుతుంది కానీ నేను మాట్లాడుతుంటే ఎవరికి వినబడతలే నేను పరిశాన్ అయిపోయినా
If I was a team, if I was players, I would probably hedge my bets anywhere between those two numbers. So we've got a few teams that are kind of just on the bubble that we'll talk about in a minute. But of course, we are starting off with Stormpoint here in this series, because a lot of the sets we've been starting with World's Edge, but it's going to be different. It's going to be a little bit of a change around, and let me tell you, it's getting loud here in Birmingham. All of a sudden, the fans are starting to pick up the noise, because they know that we are getting to that stage of groups now where you kind of have to perform. This is going to be the last chance for these two groups to perform on this main stage before we head into bracket play. A couple of teams to keep an eye on, Dan. Some of those teams in and around the bubble. Talk to me about them. KCP at the moment in 14th on 77 points. If they can have an average performance, they should do a good job. Moist in 16th on 73 points. They'll be looking for around 20. Some of the big things to keep your eye on when we're dropping onto Stormpoint. Dreamfire at the moment, they are in second place. They have the chance to be on top and take over Dark Zero, but could the kick curse start to play into effect? We saw what kick could do. They kind of hassle and they threaten. They haven't really been able to punish, but they deplete those points of the big teams, and they will be contesting Dreamfire.
Some of the big names to keep an eye on as well. You've got 100 Thieves down in 28th on the overall standings at the moment. They're on 50 points. They will need a banger of a series, and they will be also kind of sharing antenna off the drop, which we did see not go too well for them in the previous time.
Yeah, contest is not going to help them, and they need to be careful about that one. Another team that is maybe in and around that area, Humbly Esports, you just saw them on your screens briefly. 61 points in the moment, down in 22nd. still need a
there
somewhat
కూడా ఉంది.
large performance if they are going to find themselves in that winners bracket. Because remember, this is the last time
Nice
these
job.
teams will get to play in group stages.
ఇక్కడ అవుతున్నా 2 టీంలు సారీ 3 టీంలు
కింద దింకాలి నేను కొట్టేస్తారు లేకపోతే వెనకాల తీసుకో
One shot out.
Keep your eyes here to see if there's anything out of the ordinary, shall we say, but wouldn't surprise me to see the old trusties coming out in the comps.
And it is always terrifying if you are the first sets that do finish, because you can put
One shot out.
You can say, okay, we assume we'll be good for 95, but then you're allowing now the other teams
Hey, Q in the case of Maxi.
Low na bro.
It almost feels a little bit more comfortable when
Hey,
you
one shot,
know
one
what
shot.
you're chasing.
800.
It's a
Cut.
little easier to predict when you're in that final set.
One shot.
All of these teams, of course, it's just about getting
Okay,
those victories,
awesome.
getting the big points. Don't think too much about the cutoff right now. Instead, focus on the game and try and have those massive totals that can really send you
That's
Well, as we head into Storm Point then, a lot of Bangalore being picked
Heavy
as
ammo,
you would
light.
expect
Sorry.
at this stage. If you find yourself a digi threat, maybe
Ahora
that's going to
con
be
heavy.
enough to see you through some of these games. But for now, it's time to focus for these teams. Time to focus for these groups.
Light time unta mark.
Into Storm Point for our first match in the series.
Of course, I jest and I talk about Kick and their contest that they went through, but they really did frustrate TSM yesterday. And the Dreamfire chants echoing around the arena. We'll have to see whether they can find as much success as they have been having so far in this tournament. They have been one of the surprise packages, it has to be said.
We'll sign off for the
కింద ఉన్నారు ముగ్గురు కింద ఉన్నారు
and we're going to watch this one through the eyes of Zayn, but the cam of the IGL of the team, Nasky. They're going to be dropping over towards the mill, should be pretty much uncontested on their way down. I'm not going to be their nearest competitors, but they're going all the way out towards Sanote, the backside of that.
Exactly, I don't know.
Where that zone's going to be going as well. Such a huge influence in these lobbies about how teams are going to rotate.
Low, no,
Who's going to be in those prime positions? Who's going to have prio? We'll see where that's going to be when it pops.
And it looks like Dreamfire and Kick not contesting as well. They are going to be split, and it seems like everyone has found a safe home here on Storm Point. There are going to be a few that are close enough to have a few pop shots, but it's going to be a comfortable old looting situation as we can start to look at where that zone is going to be heading. Now, the biggest surprise for me is Ascend
నాకు మాత్రం కింద
dropping down towards Sanote Cave that they're used to, so perhaps they found something that they
లైట్ అమ్మ
more
పడేస్తున్నా
familiar
తీసుకోండి
and more home, and it will be a little bit of a ruckus
తీసుకొచ్చిన
here,
లైట్
actually.
అమ్మ
So if we do
పడేస్తున్నాడు
get
ఏమంటాడు
ఏ లైట్
Red Lord are going to be the team on the other side of this. Ascend choosing to loot the majority of the big building. You see the Lukas trying to take height away, and there's going to be one tappy who does go down. So Red Lord find themselves in a back foot based position at the moment.
ఏదైనా సౌండ్ వస్తుంది
With a charged up Sentinel could change that very quickly, especially if you can connect with a headshot.
This may be a conscious decision from Ascend. Riddle Order at the moment down in may well be targeted by this Ascend roster who said, well, if we're being threatened at our location by Dreamfire, we don't really want to fight.
అది ఎప్పుడు నుంచి వస్తుంది ఇప్పుడు
Hold on, there's still a chance for this one.
Look at that flank coming in. That is beautiful stuff. And now the
లోపల
2v3 turns into a 2v1. Lufka left on his own on the Valkyrie. He's going to fall as well. And Ascend fall. And Red Lord turn this fight on its head.
డ్యామేజ్ అయ్యలే
నాకు 800 ఎత్తి
30 డ్యామేజ్ 2 కిలో ఏం సాయి కాల్ వచ్చిందా మాట్లాడుతున్నాం బాగా ఎట్లా అయిపోయినాయి అబ్బా వాడు క్రాక్ వాడు నేను కూడా ఆడేంద్ర అత్త కొట్టిండు
నీ అబ్బా నేను వాడిని క్రాక్ ఇస్తాను వాడు కొట్టున్నాడు
మీకు లడ్డు దొరికినాడు దొరికితే కొట్టరా వన్ సైడ్ అయితే నీ మీద నన్ను కొట్టి దాకా రాలేవు నువ్వు
and you can see Vaxlon still with the white armor. He's going to be a little bit weaker than his two teammates, but they're going to be able to get a good priority position.
you know that.
వాళ్ళ టీంలో చూడు అందరు 1 HP లో
Exit at 112, they should be through to the winners bracket. Ascend at 101 should also be clear and into that winners bracket. And perhaps that's why Ascend were happy to kind of take that risk and take that fight off of the drop.
As we take a look here at Command Center, Pioneers forcing Exet away. And Exet now, having set that
girl power,
will be able to take their rotate path. And they're going to be followed and shadowed here by Pioneers. So Exet are going to have to keep their eyes on exactly what's happening because Nasky and crew certainly have eyes on where they're going.
And it would be a more important fight for the Pioneers over Exet, but it's also why these lobbies get a little bit difficult to try and manage, because if you've got teams that are already pretty much set in that winners bracket, they can play a little bit more loose, they can take some more risks, they can have a bit more fun. But you can see in the kill feed, suddenly, Exet are in a little bit of trouble.
Jebra Evolve 20 ms stereo headphones 3000 అమ్ముతుంటా.
ఏంటిదమ్మా 3000?
Jebra Evolve 20 ms stereo headphones, noise cancellation ఉంది.
ఏది తీసుకున్నా వేస్ట్ అయ్యా అది కొనుక్కుంటానే.
కొత్తదే కొనుక్కోమంటా. 6-in-1 5-in-1 printing machine.
Also amongst all this ruckus, and no one can really find anywhere to call home because they came over on the eastern side, the buildings were already taken, and then you've already just got what, the walls to play with.
Local language na mat.
He was the player who got that first knock. You can see he's getting hyped up by Nasky as well to keep pushing forward, to keep doing damage, and Zane doesn't even need to be asked twice. The 30-30 gets brought out the back pocket.
boddhana
To flush him out with an arc star. E6 eliminated. Nax gets the kill for Jay.
నా అదృష్టం బాలేదు, నన్ను అడగద్దు.
Sound of the Dreamfire. Means the Dreamfire fans can live on and reign supreme here in Birmingham, but
వాడు ఎప్పుడు దిగిండు, వాడు ఎప్పుడు లోపడకపోయిండు, నాకు అర్థం కాదు. కాదు వాడు ఎప్పుడు దిగిండు, ఎప్పుడు లోపడిపోయిండు బెంగళూరు గాడు.
అనమాట. నేను చెప్పేది దీని వల్ల నీకే హెడ్ సెట్ పెట్టుకున్నా. ఆఫీసులో అడిగిన హెడ్ సెట్ ఏంది భయ్యా అంటే మీరే కొనుక్కోవాలి సార్ అంటే అదే కదా క్రీమ్ బిస్కెట్ అయింది ఇప్పుడు.
Double SMG is going to be good for them as well because they can just hold down this position towards
not
being able to output a huge amount of damage, but they also
దీన్ని ఏం చేస్తారు మమ్మీ?
they can't play the hype because there's a building across them. They're going to take unnecessary damage by doing so, and with so many teams in the vicinity at the moment on that building we're looking at, you know that if you get chip damage, if a team
రిపేర్ చేయనన్నా
so aware of that being the priority building, they're going to push you and try and take it.
And this is one of those zones that is quite predictable, and that's why we see so many teams have already made their way over to this eastern side. We've only got 4 teams outside of this current circle with a lot of distance to travel for La Cite de France and for Kick, but they're going to be
దిగంగానే పాడుకోకి షాట్ గన్ దొరికిందిరా. ఈవోనో పీస్ కీపర్ మాస్టిఫ్ సారీ మాస్టిఫ్
to the eastern side of Stormcatcher. There's always that worry that maybe it will pull away
పచ్చమని కొట్టినా
that early, but you kind of have to in a zone like this. There's some damage coming out of LG Chivas.
Yeah, I want to go over to this fight. Great job from our observing team in the back to catch this, because LG at the moment are having a fight with Red Lorna. And Dreamfire are in the vicinity, holding down the choke just to the north of them. So if this starts to get a little bit messy and takes a little bit longer with Nox not being exchanged in a kill, turning into a squad wipe almost immediately, then they will be in position here, Dreamfire, to clean up the pieces, and not only that, completely clear the southern side of this zone.
LG Chivas moving forward to try and push it. They're considering break this, and I tell you what, the Vault doing damage will
అన్ని దగ్గరనే ఉంది. అందరు వెనకాల దిగిర్రు. వాటర్ ఫాల్ దగ్గర ఆర్నండి నాది సిగ్గు లేదు, శరం లేదు.
ఎవరు తీసుకోండి ఆర్నంటే నేను
ఆమె తీసుకోడు నువ్వే ఆర్నంటున్నావు అంతే, ఆమె గురించి కాదు మాత్రం.
అది కూడా కరెక్ట్.
ఆర్నంటే ఉన్నావు అంతే.
closed down any sort of gap and instantly was on his teammate to get the revive. As Exet
Yes,
also
I
will
will.
fall. We saw members of Exet going down earlier, but
Karkanama padega.
the last remaining player is eliminated. And Dreamfire just having a little scout around to see if anyone's going to be joining them from the south, because they would have heard that commotion coming from LG Chivas. So they know someone will be arriving sooner or later. So they'll be more than happy to hold this choke, because they can't really push any further north because they're being held out by Moist Esports.
That fight will break out eventually, you would imagine. LG very unlikely to rotate up towards Stormcatcher, just because of the fact that there's so many teams, as you would imagine, going to be around that POI, having to rotate from the western side of Storm Point here. This is a look again at the map over
Payana kuda ayinda loot. Payanke poyinattunnadu.
outside of the building. Jailing's still holding down
Ida
main building
kuda
that
ayindi bro
everybody
loot.
would want to be a part of. And this is the
లోపటనే బయట పైన కూడా అయింది లోపటనే ఉంది లోపటనే ఉన్నారు సాయి పైకి వెళ్ళకు నేను చూసి వచ్చినా కదా నువ్వు ఎందుకు వస్తున్నావు
kind of sandwich between LG Chivas, who are trying to work their way up north, and Moist, who are holding them out.
And Moist were very consistent to end the day.
One shot out,
55 points across their
గ్రానైట్ వేసిండు వాడు గ్రానైట్ వేసిండు అందుకే అయిపోయింది
between just for this set 3, then they should find themselves in the winners bracket. But if they were to have a similar performance, only get around 18, you do find yourself kind of in that risky zone.
మోకు maxi మరి టూ మచ్ ఓపెన్ ఉన్నావు లే అటు నువ్వు చూసుకో ఇక్కడ నుంచి నేను వస్తాను
Now, this is a problem for both teams. If they're taking a little bit longer, right? You can see, I think there's definitely a thought that they want to try and take control of that if they could. It would be such a useful thing to have in the armory to hold down any teams rotating in. But as we
smoke వేస్తాను over it
zone, bang in the center, you can see Blackhand under a little bit of pressure here.
Yeah, Blackhand just trying to assert their dominance in the center zone, as you mentioned.
hold the shield
On you and taking this away from you. It's just about getting rid of what is a smelly old
hold
there with you. Area 310.
బ్రో నేను ఏం చేయలేకపోతున్నాను మొత్తం కొట్టేసి
Yeah, dominating that building. Moist Esports do try and move up. You can see on a map overhead, but also we can see the Dream Fight
Nice.
that we were talking about starting to break out, and it's going to be Sandwich who gets the first.
కిందికి దిగాలా అరే నేను వస్తున్నా ఇటుగా
Taking down Neozor, and now Dream Fire look to clean up the pieces.
పైకి వెళ్తే పో
Maybe we're caught unaware here. Dream
ఇది వన్ షాట్
ambushing.
ఏడున్నాడు బ్రో ఏడున్నాడు ఇవ్వదు వెనకాల వెంట
వన్ షాట్ నిజంగా వన్ షాట్ నీ హీల్ అవ్వటి పోతా
కావాలంటే నేను ఇక మధ్యలో
అది కూడా బ్యాట్ చేస్తాను
ఉన్నాడు పోతా ఉన్నా
ఏడున్నాడు
I would just be happy that they hold the southern side.
Yeah, they've done a great job here.
Hey!
Kind of.
సైడ్ నుంచి వచ్చింది
If LG
వచ్చిన కాడ నుంచి
they can get out, there is a res beacon available too.
అని కొట్టేస్తే అక్కడే ఉంటుంది కదా బ్రో
But Dreamfire also might be aware that Moist Esports have moved up as well. We saw the fight in the building with Blackhand. Well, that kind of created a vacancy, and you can see on your screen right now on the left-hand side, they did not have to be asked twice, Moist. And I tell you what, Moist here, they want to be aggressive and they want to take on Blackhand.
Well, Moist want this building. They want to take it off the.
అరే స్వీట్ షాప్ చేసుకున్నా
Hey, if we can grab this, this is a
వన్ తో
potential
షాట్
win
ఉండే
for us
కదా
now.
అందరూ తక్కువ ఉండే
Taking control
వేరే
of
టీం
the
వేసి
building is
మొత్తానికి
fussy. Barricaded
Columbus
them from
and-
the outside. And having
అమ్మయ్య
decided
ఒలపస్
that
పోయిందా
maybe this
పోయిందా
isn't quite going the way they wanted, as quickly as they wanted. Now they have to retreat back to their building. Blackhand doing a good job there of holding, doing a little bit of damage to make them retreat. But Moist Esports, I like the proactiveness of that. However,
21
one
packs
thing you
ఉన్నారా
can't
నాకు
account for is a
నేను 92 బ్యాగ్స్ ఏం చేయాలి
ఇంకో ఎయిర్లో
నాలో
ఉండే
నాలో
Where all the action's going down. Lasita France versus SAF.
రెండు ఎయిర్రూమ్ వస్తే ఒకటి నీకు వేస్తారు అసలు గిఫ్ట్గా
ఎట్లిస్తావురా
ఇవ్వచ్చు
Blood Gaming go down. Lasita France are out. So SAF doing very well to ensure they win that
కథలు కూడా
one.
ఉన్నాయా
Cole goes down as a last resort to try and stay alive.
Sleep trying to do what he can, but you can see he's under so much pressure. Has to play the knockdown shield. Does have the Prowler from the package. So he might be able to win a little close 1v1 if someone does push, but this isn't looking like a 1v1. This is looking like a lobby versus one.
అరే అది మాడ్ ఎవరికైనా కావాలంటే చెప్పరా
నాకు కొద్దిగా
నైట్ ఆఫ్ గార్డ్ హ్యాండ్ ఇచ్చిండు
ఏ మోడ్ అందుకే ఎవరి గురించి తెప్పించదు నీ గురించి నువ్వు తెప్పించుకోవాలంటే
జీ స్కిల్ ర్యామ్
ఫోన్ గురించి కదా నువ్వు తెప్పించుకోవాలంటే నువ్వు పైసలు వేయరా ఫస్ట్ అను
జీ స్కిల్ బ్రో ర్యామ్ లో చూసినావు కదా అవి మోడ్స్ పెట్టుకున్నా అనమాట నేను ఇంపోర్ట్ చేయించుకొని పెట్టుకున్నా నాకు కూడా కావాలి తెప్పి అంటే తెప్పించిన అనమాట
ఇదిగా బ్రో నేను
2 నెలలు అవుతుంది ఏంద్రా ఇది M28 గేమ్ హెడ్సెట్ ఇయర్ బడ్స్.
ఇయర్ బడ్స్ బ్లూటూత్ ఇయర్ బడ్స్ లైక్ దిస్.
అవతల సైడ్
అరే దిగింది కదరా.
నువ్వు నాకు గన్న దొరకలే.
The last ones to the party on the western side that will survive.
And how important is that for Singularity?
కాల్రా బాడే కాల్.
దొరకు. అరే నేనే దొరికినా ఇంకా వచ్చినావు. అరే అలా గన్ తీసుకుంటావు.
గన్నే దొరకలేదు ఎవరికి.
కాదు ఆయన గన్ మీద మాట్లాడతాయి.
అవుద్ది అప్పుడప్పుడు అవుద్ది అలా.
నన్ను సార్ వస్తున్నాడు గన్ మీద.
అచ్చా నేను లేపుతుండా. అవును అప్పుడప్పుడు అవుతుంది. అరే కానీ పబ్జి లాగా మన కింద పడితే సామాన్లు పడేసేటట్టు ఉంటే బాగుండు. అర్థమైందారా?
ఎత్తుకొని పక్క పడేయడం.
బ్రో సౌండ్ ఏం వస్తలే కదా నా హెడ్ సెట్
బ్రో
వస్తుంది.
వస్తుంది ఇప్పుడు అన్నావా? అలా 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 ఇప్పుడు అట్లా.
And you have to say, range for that Kraber is fantastic, but in the close range quarters, if you can't hit the no-scope, then it doesn't quite become as impactful as a weapon as it would have been.
Well, as round 4 closes, the two winners from this circle pool, J-Lings and Pioneers. Remember, we saw Pioneers traverse the map all the way to that eastern side right at the start of the game where they were holding it with J-Lings. Circle's coming their way. So Blackhand, Onyx, Singularity, they're all going to be on this left side with Moist Esports, and they're going to have to push over to the east.
What's fascinating about this final zone, right? We were talking about the bubble teams. Who are those bubble teams? We mentioned KCP, we mentioned Onyx, we mentioned Singularity, we mentioned 100 Thieves. They are all involved in this top 6 position. So this is a huge game for them. If they get in this great position, they fought for it early on, and they can convert. So much pressure is off their shoulders.
And a lot of those teams we were saying need maybe 20, 30 points in this set, and you could achieve that with a victory. We've seen those big games and how important they could be. Think of Sentinels yesterday when they got that one win. There's now Singularity will push in and get the first knock here.
This is the team that could upset things, right? Elysium's back and he's looking to take over the lobbies once more. Moist Esports will be eliminated as Team Singularity continue to scrap here with Blackhand. They did get some good damage down initially. They did get a first knock, but now Bing goes in. Can he finish off the kills though? It's looking a bit messy here. It's all up to Elysium.
Well, you said Elysium's back. Can he do the unthinkable here? It's a 1 versus 3. Onyx
Card
not
zero
in
time.
just yet. And maybe Blackhand recognizing they need to reset ever so slightly. They can't allow a solo to just ruin their day because they need these 15 seconds to get their shields back up, get any utility they might find in the death boxes, and then start to make their way over to that eastern side. The remaining one player from Singularity has moved over to the eastern side, and it's kind of created a little bit of scared nature from J-Lings as Pioneers. They both kind of panicked, took some shots at one another because they heard the commotion.
Pioneers have been forced into this play. I think they thought the zone might pull out a little bit more towards them, away from the building. And therefore had to reposition. And J-Lings off the back of that information as well, seeing where the zone is going to be pulling. They've decided now, with the height going to be taken out of those other buildings, across
లోపల ఆడొచ్చు కదా మీరు.
నీ గురించి వస్తే లోపల నుంచి ఆడొచ్చు అంటే
వచ్చేస్తా కదా, వచ్చేసినాక బయటకి ఎందుకు పోతున్నావు నువ్వు? లైటమ్మా
One of these teams that has ran through the lobby. Remember, they were holding that building from an early stage, and they were comfortable in their fights, they were confident in their fights, and they need to wait for all of these dark veils to dissipate.
Might have to heat up this bang ult as well.
ఏరినా ఏమంటొచ్చడం లేదు దొంగ పడుకోలు.
Smokes go out as well. They do get the gen down right on the edge of zone, which is going to stop any more barrages coming in, any more grenades being thrown at them, and it's also going to eat up those Qs from Catalyst. So, Blackhand, full Evo shields for them. It's only a corner they have to play, but you're in a corner. If you've got a gen, it becomes a much more playable spot.
You saw Elysium there on the map overhead. The last remaining player from Singularity just trying to rat away right below the Pioneers.
మనం లూట్ చేసుకున్నాం పైన.
Is Blackhand.
Elysium just saying, I am but a bush. Please ignore.
Back.
వెనకాల తీసుకోండి.
Look at the kill feed though, strafing flame with that Kraber has taken down Nasky from KCP and now Blackhand see that.
వెనకాల చూడండి అంటే ముంగట ఉన్న కొడుతుర్రు.
వేరే టీం రాదు కిల్ షాట్ చేసుకున్నావు.
Starting to potentially fall here.
ఏవేమో పడేస్తున్నాడు.
And the Pioneers will find singularity. So unfortunately the final member goes down.
One shot and ముందట ఇద్దరు.
The Pioneers eventually do get eliminated. So Onyx Esports,
వాళ్ళు పైపోయారు.
and J-Lings. Now J-Lings hold the height. They've got the lots of defenses down. They have made
Smoke వాళ్ళ మీద
it
ఏవా?
dangerous. And they say, catch us if you can, get up here. We will hold this for as long
నేను
as
మొత్తుకుంటున్నా
possible.
అర్థం అవుతుందా మీకు? నీడ్ హెల్త్ అని అంటున్నా.
They're so good at closing out these end games. They know they have the priority position and they are very, very adept in making sure they aren't the team to make that first mistake. They can also try and force Blackhand and Onyx into each other because they're going to be closing out the
Well, the corner that Noises was just on, just outside of the building. They can wait, they can force that damage between Onyx and Blackhand. As now you see Onyx and Blackhand taking the fight against one another.
Strafing Flame's going to be there. JMW getting involved still. Picking up a few kills with the triple take. J-Lings in a premium position to surely close this game out. They pick up yet more kills as they take to the high ground. The flank comes in from Nags. He's just going to be shooting fish in a barrel. Onyx Esports eliminated and now it's just about closing out.
Blackhand have done well though to stay as a full 3. If they can reset, this is still winnable.
There's the EMP coming in though. The EMP is a problem for Blackhand. They're down to just 2 and look at the shields. Look at the health here for J-Lings. It's the perfect game if they can convert. It should be a simple job. Send in Nags, get the damage done and call yourself the champions.
Was it ever in doubt for J-Lings with a position like that? Maybe a small amount of worry when they saw that 3 members of Blackhand were still alive, but the damage that they'd already been taken, J-Lings quickly made sure they capitalized off that damage. And it was a very early move from J-Lings to ensure they were on that far eastern side. They were joined for quite some time by the Pioneers, but unfortunately for the Pioneers, they never really had that roof like J-Lings did, and also we saw how much composition really counted there, just having those Watson fences down to keep any team at bay.
Big result for J-Lings. You mentioned them as one of the bubble teams coming into this set of games. Well, they were 26th overall coming in with 53 points. You would imagine there's probably around 20 to be added to that total. We'll obviously check those standings in a few moments to see how that has influenced things, but we mentioned pressure. That's going to relieve a lot of it, Dan, as we take a look at the final circle.
And I think J-Lings, when they're in a position like this, they know that everything is on their side. As long as both teams on the lower side of the map are fighting one another, you should always win a final circle like this. It would need to be a colossal mistake to throw something like this away. So I'm glad that they didn't, because otherwise we'd be talking about them for an entirely different reason.
Well, one thing that I love about J-Lings is they're never kind of risk adverse. They put themselves in a position at the right time to collapse. And you can see here, they're not overcommitting to the fight. They know that they are going to win this game. The only way that they don't win this game is if someone drops, if someone throws, essentially, and puts themselves in a position where all of a sudden you fill the other team with a belief because they've got that first knock, and they can maybe isolate someone off the back of it, but the EMP just slowed things down once again. JMW flies in, and I think what was almost as important for J-Lings in that final circle was not just the win down, but they also got a few KP from the team scrapping on that low ground.
Yeah, they made sure that they took advantage of a circle that was close enough to their drop spot of High Point, quickly rotated to get in what they felt was one of the prime positions, and the circle kept pulling towards them, so they were rewarded for their early move. I'm still impressed that the Pioneers were able to get all the way east, considering they drop over towards Mill, by the way, so they should still be happy with a top 5 finish, considering how far they had to go.
Yeah, nothing quite like evac tower from command center to get across the map. Very, very impressive stuff coming out of that rotate, and I'm sure they want to thank Exet as well, because I'm not sure if that was their evac tower that they kind of followed them on, but it certainly worked for them and they managed to get in a pretty good position. But it's a very interesting game, isn't it? Because that's going to change the leaderboards significantly. And we talked about pressure, how things are going to change up. Well, before we get into overalls, let's check out match 1 results, and it is J-Lings with 19 points on the board. So important to get those points early. 7 kills, I think, a big contributor. We've talked about J-Lings are good at winning games, but sometimes you don't see the KP alongside it. That is not the case here in this first game.
And we mentioned right at the top of the show, 53 points is what they were on, so now they're on 72. Again, still a little bit off that kind of bubble amount that we were talking of 92 to 100, but with more games like that, J-Lings can still find themselves in in the winners bracket. Black Hat, 18 points they were able to pick up. Onyx getting 10, Singularity getting 10, and Pioneers getting 7. And also, shout out, Kick Esports getting 9 points, not being contested right at the start, and they were able to play the game of Apex Legends.
They certainly were, and they picked up 7 KP alongside it. At the bottom side, though, you can see Ascend, they lost that contest, even though they got the 1 point for one of those limbs. E6, very quiet game for them, and it's been a quiet tournament so far, but the crowd certainly aren't quiet when they come on our screens. Exet as well, 0 points for them. We saw them getting pinched a little bit earlier on as they were kind of shadowed through the skies by Pioneers on their rotate. And then you've got the likes of 100 Thieves, who might be starting to think that it's getting to a little bit of a worrying moment for them. They want to be in the in the winner's side of the bracket. They don't want to be in the elimination side of it and have to fight their way through that. They're going to have to step up here as we head into game number 2.
Yeah, I think that when you look at how far you are beyond that points total that we were trying to look at, it's always easy to worry, but I think for a lot of these teams, they can maybe say, all right, well, we're not as good at Stormpoint, we're going to be good at World's Edge. There's still lots of games here. It's not too much of a worry after map number 1. You can see J-Lings and the damage they were able to put down. This is what I expect from J-Lings, right? I mean, I know I mentioned it all the time, how they used to be such a good World's Edge team, and they're very good at playing zone and holding on to the circles when they are able to get them coming their way, but they were able to get the kills as well. I think it's the big thing that you highlighted that.
Yeah, it's the big thing. It's always been the big thing for me in J-Lings. It's like, they read zones brilliantly. They always find themselves in great positions. They rotate so well, but I just feel like sometimes they're not willing to take a little bit more of a risk to clear space around them. But the way they controlled that building was perfect, right? They controlled the roof, they held off the push coming in from KCP, and then they were able to clean up that end game. And that's what you got to do. It's not just about getting a position. It's not just about hunkering down in a building. You have to try and control the space around it and force other teams to fight away from the position that you are holding.
Now, if I'm E6, if I'm 310, I'm asking myself, how did I let J-Lings get past us and get to that position before us? Definitely something that these teams need to be looking at when it comes to circles that are pulling their way. But I think that is credit to J-Lings knowing these ring pulls, knowing these circles, and knowing which areas to be heading towards when they see a pull start to happen. So J-Lings take match number 1. Blackhand, though, we saw they were in a building for quite some time, and they really asserted their dominance.
They certainly did. We saw some of the stats coming in, like you say, and they're actually 9th place in the overall standings coming into game 1 as well. So Blackhand kind of going under the radar a bit, and I think it's about time that we give them the spotlight, because they are performing so well so far here in Birmingham, and who knows, maybe they could be a little bit of a sleeper team, an underdog going into the later days.
I mean, certainly even with the points they just got in match number 1, that should be enough to get them into the winners bracket most likely, but they still want to be consistent, they still want to be finding themselves in those final circles, not just for the points, but it's about getting those reps in, right? It's getting as many final circles as possible so that when you do get into the winners bracket, when you do get into the grand finals, you have those reps, you understand how the lobbies are playing, and you know how to navigate them.
Well, game 1 is done and dusted. A lot more Apex Legends to come your way, though. Game 2 coming up on Stormpoint right after the break.
Wow, good. 3-3 knocking.
పోదాం కదా టీం వస్తుంది బ్రో
వస్తుంది
అయిపోయింది
అట్టు దూకినావా ఇట్టురా ఇట్లా
అటు కాదు ఇటు కాదు ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేసిండు తెలుసా
WD Black, the official storage partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back to Birmingham, everyone, and welcome back to the ALGS Championships this week. There'll be $2 million in prizing given out, Dan. What a time to be alive. Game 1 done on Storm Point here. As we saw, the two groups going up against each other, and now we have the opportunity to go back to Storm Point and see if we can have a repeat winner, or if things are going to change up a little bit.
Yeah, a few things we need to look out for is, are we going to see the consistency from these bubble teams that we were mentioning earlier, the likes of KCP, Moist, Singularity, Onyx? Or are we going to see some of the teams who are a little bit lower down in those tables, 100 Thieves and J Lings, who were the winners of match number 1? Can they suddenly propel themselves up the leaderboards and find themselves in that winner's bracket?
We'll have to find out if that is going to be the case. There's also a couple of teams who are kind of lingering down the bottom who are going to start to worry for just a second, I think, knowing that there's 5 games left in groups for them to get the job done and get themselves into the winner's side of that bracket. I want to talk about one of those teams because I can certainly see over there in the crowd, they've got a lot of fans. That's going to be E6. E6 need to put in a performance now, Dan. And the big thing for E6 for me is they can be a little bit hot and cold, right? They can go through these periods where it's like, oh, they have a couple of very low point games that all of a sudden, they just burst into life. Momentum, adrenaline. I don't know what it is about them, but you can never count them out. And one big game here for them, and they can start to take over.
Well, you've got the E6 Ultras chanting, and maybe that can give them the confidence in this match number 2, because we're in the drop ship, and we are ready to go for match number 2. And if you are E6, if you're any of those teams who are around that northeast area, you're asking and you're scratching your head saying, how did we let teams get there first? Rotations and quick moving is everything in this current meta. You want to be the first team to lock down one of those buildings. Be confident in your belief of where that zone is going to go, because it can be the difference maker.
It certainly can indeed. Dreamfire fans getting loud as well, which is what we love to hear. And let me tell you, the volume is turning up day by day here in Birmingham. The crowd have been amazing so far, and you know it's only going to get better as we get into the juicier parts of the tournament. But speaking about flight path, it's going to be north to south, straight down the middle of the map, and for a team who just won things, J-Lings, that's going to be great news, but for Ascend, they're looking for a different result from this contest.
Yeah, Ascend contesting again down at Launchpad with Riddle Order, but as you mentioned, it didn't go their way the first time, and for Riddle Order it was massive, because they were down in 39th position, and really need some points on the board if they are going to find themselves in the winner's bracket. This has to be a miraculous run here in set number 3 for them. But they were able to get the victory last time, but nothing really snowballed after that. They still went down shortly after. But they're well aware now that Ascend are going to be there as all. It's a little lineup with a Sentinel, but not enough to get a shot.
I think Ascend will be fuming, to say the least, about how the last contest went down. They got that first knot, and then one player, I think it was Miak, managed to just flank, get up on height and drop down behind 2 Ascend players and essentially take them out single-handedly. So Ascend playing a little bit tighter this time around. They're going to be able to hit the ring console as well to get a bit of info. But I think it's, you know, one of those games that certainly refocuses you if you're Ascend, but also frustrates you more than anything with how things went down.
Well, I think Ascend in general feel like they are disrespected in the Apex scene, even though they've had great achievements, second place at the Split 1 playoffs, and what could have been, well, certainly it could have been a first place. I guess they were in the fight, weren't they? They technically did not get second place, but they had the chance to win at Split 2 playoffs, losing out to TSM. And we'll have to see now whether Ascend can kind of replicate that success that they had, because at Split 2 they really struggled. They looked like a different team compared to Split 1.
They got to the finals, but we know how tough the finals lobbies can be. It just seems like there's just a step up. And for Ascend, maybe just wasn't their day. But for now, it looks like this contest is going to be kind of, shall we say, there's a gentleman's agreement going down between the two. A few pop shots, but Ascend, I think, happy enough with their loot to start their rotate. And for a team like Ascend, who are so dependent upon their rotations and how they get to zone early, this kind of thing really does hurt them down.
It really does, and I think that they've always been a team who is happy to move quickly, and sometimes they get targeted because of that. But I think they were the ones targeting Riddle Order in this particular instance, but they don't take the fight now as NRG are making their move. But as we start to look at the zone, we are heading up to the wall for this circle. Exet are already making their move, and they're already trying to take down some players as Fussy has fallen. And unfortunately, for Moist, it looks like they might be pushed here.
Nocturnal got a little bit of a shock there, but the Knuckle Cluster will clear the way for Noct to move in. They know this is a 3v2. They know they want to clear this up. However, they also know that they can't make too much of a mess of this because there are teams already stacking up inside of the wall. You have Area 310, you have Blackhand playing the tunnel, start a fight at their kick, and their Jailings are already there as well. So if you're going to fight, you've got to make it quick, and that's exactly what XZ are doing.
Yeah, Waltzy is going to be the next player, and it should be 3 for 3 here for XZ. It's going to be relatively comfortable. A white knockdown shield is not really going to help you in this scenario. And there we go. Moist eliminated in 20th position, and again it starts to get a little bit worrying. Even though Moist doing pretty well and they're closing in on that total they'd like to get to find themselves in winners bracket, the more losses and the more points that you kind of throw away in these games, it makes it more difficult for you in the later matches. NRG have managed to move all the way around to the northern side here, just above Jailings, and they're going to be happy to reside here. And you can see ears to the ground, they're trying to listen, they're trying to sneak up. This could be a potential ambush.
This is where if you're inside of the building, you've got to be aware. You've got to make sure that you're watching every angle. As the smoke comes in, I'm not sure if that was an NRG smoke or if that was one coming out of the wall to say, hey, we see you. What do you think about doing anything funny?
Well, I think Nathan probably put that smoke down because you saw Sweet's face. As soon as he had a look into that building, he felt his eyes lock with someone else, and he instantly turned around and said, don't fancy it. This is not a fun fight to try and take. And now it's about what do you want to do here from NRG, because this tunnel is not where you want to play. It's too much of a choke point where you will be focused, so you need to try and force your way in to the wall at some point.
Well, XZ at the moment just controlling a lot of space within the wall, picking up some loot on their way as well. FC Destroy holding down this area outside a command center. This is on the southeastern side of the zone where it's going to be going. Elsewhere, 100 Thieves making their way through Jurassic at the moment. LG taking their time. This is going to be a really tough zone for LG to try and access. As we jump on board with Pioneers, who had a pretty good result in that first game. Smiles on the faces, understandably so. But they will want to convert into a win here. A win just feels so much of what you want to do as a team, right? It just feels a confidence, and we've always got in the back of our minds as commentators as well, match point arriving on Sunday. And if you go into match point and you haven't won a game all tournament, even though you might be in those finals, you might be thinking, maybe this isn't the format for us.
Yeah, we know that Apex Legends and any esport really, a lot of mentals involved, and just having that extra little bit of confidence will do you wonders. Speaking of, Element 6 on the struggle bus at the moment in this tournament. The new addition of Tyler coming in, and there's a lot of hope of how this roster might do. We'll have to see whether they can find something in these next 5 matches to keep their chances alive of being in that winners bracket. Otherwise, it will have to be an elimination run for them, which is still very achievable. Sometimes when you make a change, it's not the worst thing to play more games of Apex Legends, to give yourself that extra little bit of time to build that chemistry and make sure you're ready when you do find yourself in Elim 2 and then maybe into the grand finals.
Well, great job from our observing team once again here in the back. We jumped over to the POV of Onyx Esports, and I was just thinking, hey, this isn't NRG. Where are NRG? Well, that's exactly where they are. They've cracked their way into wall, trying to get ahead of the traffic. Gold charge rival here for Raki, and let me tell you, even though I would say not the most consistent output of damage these days from the charge rifle, after it was retuned completely, if you hit a shot from distance and you connect with a headshot, well, it's game over for the other player, quite simply.
I mean, it's still bloody annoying, isn't it? It's just one of those guns when you get shot by it, you don't really fancy the team that is doing it from a distance, and actually it aggravates me a little bit. It makes me want to push that team.
I feel like I've just unlocked some sort of anger in you.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. You've really
don't worry, it's the first one we've seen in person.
No, it's
Calm
not.
down.
It's fine.
Keep yourself composed.
Breathe.
Well, NRG just playing the backside of the concrete structure you can see at the top of your screen. A couple of teams inside of the wall building itself. Let's see France are making a really big zone wrap as well to the north, which is interesting for the likes of NRG. Start a fight, who are going to be having to keep their heads on swivels, so to speak, to watch that zone wrap coming in.
So only 5 teams outside of this next circle. It's going to be the late rotation again from LG Chivas. Riddle Order going to be arriving late. 100 Thieves have just gone up to Thunderwatch, by the way. But Onyx seem like they're happy here for now, and they're well aware that as they wrapped on the northern side, they could certainly be joined by other teams, and, well, it could happen. Here's the Site de France, who are taking a very northern route and will be potentially arriving in a very similar position.
Interesting to see if this pays off for the Site de France. This is kind of a all eggs in one basket play, right? Because if the meds aren't there and they have to rewrap through zone, they might be taken down by that zone. Onyx Esports taking damage at just the wrong time here as well. And you can see that the Seat de France are probably popping those last meds and getting ready to re-engage here. Or should I say, engage and pop up behind them.
It was a coordinated, all 3 medkits at the same time. They maybe sense there's a team around this corner. And now they've got that info. And now suddenly you want to push up, but Psychop's taken so much damage.
Psychop will be down as well, and that was the worry for me about this play. The longer they're in zone, the longer this fight takes, then the longer and the more likely it is that this will be the end of the game for Seat de France. Onyx Esports look pretty frustrated, but all of a sudden, look how this game is changing. Crusader's down, Shady's down, Racky's left on his own.
That was an Uno reversal card, played onto an Uno reversal card there from Seat de France as they managed to stay alive. Psychop back on his feet, Exet eliminated over towards the wall. So all this commotion starting to happen as all these teams arrive a little bit late and force teams into one another.
They have to go here though, the meds are so low for Seat de France, they have to get inside of that zone, and the zone is going to start shifting away from them in the next few moments as well. They have to get this KP, they have to push in, they will be safe. But do they know?
Oh my.
Do they know? They know now!
But all the better for NRG, who have been pleasantly waiting at the other end of the tunnel, but this will draw attention towards them, so they have to be careful. This is good from NRG. You don't want to overcommit to this fight.
They do know they have them trapped, however, they did use the Horizon ult, so they're not going to have that available, but Seat de France aren't going to have much utility either. They did get that knock, which means now they can move in to clean up the damage. NRG doing a great job of clearing their back here, and I think the decision to move through that tunnel, get into wall, and ahead of the expected traffic from the northern side, which is what puts them in such a good position.
All the meanwhile, the teams that arrived here early have just been kind of watching, peeking out of their curtains, checking on their neighbors every now and then. Have they put the bins out? Yes, they have. We'll do that later. Jailings, they arrived early. 100 Thieves are there. SAF also in a building as well. All these teams should be comfortable for now, but we mentioned E6 earlier. They're trying to stay alive on the opposite side of NRG.
Pioneers eliminated in the meantime. They will not be participating in the end of game number 2. Element 6 had to use a lot of utility to get into this position. You saw Case Winnie on the fuse hitting the ult just to give them enough space to retreat. And even though they are safe and will be safe for quite some time, they have to be worried about the likes of Ascend in this building being able to roll a few grenades their way.
On the southern side, there are about 6 teams that are all going to be moving at a very similar time, and I tell you, it's going to be carnage when they all do. The last team to enter that fight might be able to hold the southern side and threaten Black Tank, but it looks like, yeah, E6 fancy it.
E6 are going to go in, and I talked about momentum. I talked about adrenaline. Well, E6, maybe they're feeling it right now as Tyler goes in. He'll do so much damage, the Peacekeeper's going to be a problem, but so is Tyler. It's all up to Slayers and Case Winnie to clean up the pieces here. They will win the fight against Ascend, but can they hold off the third party?
It's going to be 100 Thieves.
Oh my God, get out of here!
Sometimes you just got to be aggressive as Slayers denies any sort of push and will allow E6 to just about hold on.
But Slayers got more work to do here. You can see it. He's doing so much of it himself. Case Winnie still alive. Can he get the shield swap here, Slayers? He does get the perp, but Tyler is still down. As it's going to be another team flushing themselves into this building, and now you can see that E6 are in a pinch.
Slayer's just trying to make himself as big as possible, and I tell you what, he's a very big man, very tall man, but he will fall as Case Winnie now tries to escape. E6 was stuck between a rock and a hard place, but it looks like Case Winnie may just be able to get this Phoenix off and at least re-engage if he wants to, or rat out, because it was 2 teams that were pressing them.
NRG under a little bit of pressure themselves as well, but able to survive. Now, if I was not mistaken, the Seat de France have somehow managed to get them back up, themselves up to a 4-3. But the Digi being dropped off here would suggest that NRG want to send Nathan in through the smoke to try and deal with that.
Nathan gets the cover, sets the ping, and sets his teammates onto the Seat de France, but they are still residing in that corner. And this is frustrating for NRG. NRG are desperate to clear this northern side because then they can be far more comfortable in the area they currently reside in. They just can't get out the pesky Seat de France.
Not quite sure how this has happened, by the way, but E6, I'm pretty sure that they've managed to get everyone back in the game. Elsewhere, though, Down on the southern side of zone, these are the teams who have had to traverse across Storm Point, and now they are running into each other. FC Destroying going to be the first ones to fall, as here come Dreamfire.
Yeah, this was the southern side scrap that I was talking about, but I tell you what, there is damage coming out from everyone at the moment who are on the south. Dreamfire trying to rescue and will rescue, because Roy going hard with the R301 and make sure he helps his teammates as best as he can.
Team Singularity eliminated, deleted, but now Roy and 3MZ have to do what they can to try and survive the onslaught. The fight breaks out finally between Le Cite de France and NRG. Nathan, through the smoke, through the flames, manages to survive. Area 310 in the meantime gone. Dreamfire have been eliminated as well on that southern side, but NRG still having to deal with Le Cite de France.
Well, and also we see Jay Ling's getting involved as well. Oh, Nathan's gone down. Finally, Le Cite de France will fall.
Gold res will be good enough though for NRG to get up and be ready to fight. They have the Dark Veil down as well, which means that they won't be able to be pushed. As LG now on this southern side find themselves under a little bit of pressure. Yanya has fallen, but Riddle Order will be eliminated. We're down to our final 9 teams now as everybody tries to enter the wall.
Yeah, not over yet on the southern side, but also still scraps happening on the northern side. NRG down to 2. Jay Lings are involved in this one. JNW and Noises have gone down into 2 versus 1.
Oh!
Making it 1 versus 1. Nathan still alive.
Nathan, all up to you for NRG fans here. Trying to escape, trying to survive. LG Shivas have gone down. In the meantime, we have 8 squads remaining as Jailings fall as well.
SAF down to 1, could be going back up to 2 though. This is NRG's chance to get a res as well if they would like. There's been a lot of reses that have happened, maybe under people's noses at times.
Well, this is the southern side. This is Black Hand and Iron Blood Gaming, but I want to talk about 100 Thieves. We set it up perfectly. The story is there for them. They need a win more than anyone in this lobby at the moment. They are bang center zone. They have the only building in where this zone is going to be ending.
Coming all the way from Antenna as well. They've done very well to ensure that they hold the building.
There they are.
And they're on top of it as well. It's always nice to be on top of it and have that confidence that you don't feel like teams are going to push up on you enough. If you kind of hunker down and you hold the bottom of the building, it can be a little bit frustrating. Teams can walk up on you, but now Iron Blood Gaming are getting in this fight versus Black Hand.
This is the southern side once again, just outside of the wall. Can't get the Barry Polisic, he has to go in now, but you think it's just a matter of time for Iron Blood. They will be eliminated, and surprise, surprise, it's Black Hand back in the fight once again and back into the top 6.
Black Hand with 30 points. I mean, they're really putting themselves in the perfect position for that winner's bracket. An incredible opening 2 games from them. Now we look back towards where 100 Thieves are, holding center zone, trying to keep out the likes of SAF and the remainder of NRG. But the real threat to 100 Thieves is Black Hand and, I'll say it, Kick, still alive on the northwest side of wall.
Interesting thing for 100 Thieves is almost carbon copy of what we were talking about in the last game. They control the height at just the right time. All of the other buildings are now going to be eliminated. The height from those as that zone starts to close. Finally, NRG are eliminated. Nathan managed to rat out to a top 6 position, as now we see 100 Thieves with the L-Star in the hands of Onmu, looking to pick up some kills off of the respawners.
Well, welcome back to the game and welcome back from the skies, but can you get anything to work with? No one desperate to jump on it in the moment, because those who are still alive, either they are down to just a 2, or they're in one of the commanding positions in this final circle. In 23 seconds, Ring 5 closes, and that means E6, Kick, and SAF all have to move.
The calm before the storm here. All of the southern side has now been dealt with. Black Hand were the last survivors from that scuffle that went down. I say scuffle, it's kind of like an underselling of it. It was about 10 teams who tried to force their way into zone. Black Hand are the winners, and now they take the building below 100 Thieves. But you can also hear the E6 fans starting to pick up the volume a little bit here in Birmingham, because Slayers and K Swinney are still involved in this endgame.
But E6 did excellently to hold this building earlier and then still escape with their lives, at least 2 of them, which gives them still a chance, a slim chance at that in this final circle. But we've seen games being won by 2 players plenty of times before, and even at this tournament. Remember, NRG did it earlier on yesterday. But 100 Thieves still hold one of the prime positions. Kick now arriving from the northwest. SAF are also pushing in as E6 are forcing themselves up this ramp.
Looking across the composition, 100 Thieves, Scurry on the Gibby. This could be big as the zone maybe starts to pull away from the building. We go back to the old Gibby meta. If you can be the one team to throw your bubble out and create some false cover, then you can survive a little bit longer. K-Swinny doing damage with that Kraber. 9 shots to work with. He can influence this final lobby hugely.
And we've seen plenty of highlight reels with K-Swinny popping off with the Kraber as well. So that kind of adds an extra half a player to E6 here. So maybe it's not a 2-man, but it suddenly becomes 2.5. 100 Thieves though, they just need to make sure that they are checking every angle, trying to be as big as possible, laying down damage when they're able to. As I say that, Scurry does spot one underneath them. You mentioned the calm before the storm. It's all going to explode in about 30 seconds when suddenly E6 are going to be forced in. Kick are going to be forced in. Blackhand and 100 Thieves will have to leave this building as well. It's going to end just outside of the building on top of the ledge.
You can see here the Kicker aware of the E6 players' positions as well. They're trying to swing out. They're trying to do some damage on the cross to make them easy kills for the likes of Blackhand and 100 Thieves up on that high ground. That will then clear the space for them to be center zone. And it looks like they want to take this fight. Kick, you can see they're thinking about throwing the Dark Veil down, cutting the zone in half and taking this fight early to then allow the rest of the lobby to do the damage, them to reset and then be involved in that endgame.
I mean, when you look at where the circle's finishing, Kick are closest to it at the moment, and I like the position. They've got the wall to work with. They can kind of use it as a head glitch as well if they get pushed. A longbow just to try and take out any players that are going to be arriving from a distance. Kick in a fantastic position at the moment, but 100 Thieves still have that height.
Fusel not having too much of an impact. You can see now E6 are going to be forced by the zone. They're going to be flushed out. But if K-Swinny can hit one shot with the Kraber in his hands after popping this battery, maybe he can find somewhere to play, or maybe it's going to be a respawn beacon and a little bit of concrete that keeps E6 alive here.
E6 just desperate to draw attention elsewhere, as we see in the kill feed. Suddenly that attention has been dragged away from them. Vaxelon gets the opener, 100 Thieves showing what they can do from that high ground. And now here comes all the ultimates. Black Hole goes down to try and catch out E6, but they are able to destroy it.
Still a 2 here, E6. Haku's going down might force them out from the high ground, but they return to their little hidey hole once more.
Parkour.
K-Swinny now popping a few cells to see if he can be full shields. Blackhand still fully alive, by the way. Piercing spikes are going to chip away at the armor, but that one's not going to quite connect. You can see the Blackhand are more than aware of the position coming in.
Jinx just trying to stay alive as well, as eventually 100 Thieves are going to have to leave this building. But Blackhand are right underneath them. They're very conscious of where they might be, and the Watson fences could prove to be annoying to them.
Here's the bubble. The bubble goes down. That's going to protect them from the bombardment. And also, Scurry on the M&K. He's got the PK, and he might be saying goodnight to some of these players in front of him.
1, 2, 3 shots connect, and now here comes the bombardment. Will go down as 100 Thieves. They have taken a lot of damage here. E6 get eliminated. Kick and Blackhand are the 2 favorites here.
Oh, look at the damage coming in from the defensive bombardment. It's huge. It's almost game-changing here. And 100 Thieves saying that Jimmy still lives here. Kick eliminated. Scurry and Vaxelon to close things out to 1v1. Vaxelon will win it. Blackhand come out on top.
And Blackhand steal it away. They were underneath 100 Thieves for so long, and they were just trying to take space. Watson fences down. Walk forward a little bit, more Watson fences down, we walk a little bit more, and then suddenly they use that gen to keep any sort of grenades away, and then when the Dark Veil arrived, Blackhand just hid themselves away for long enough where they could engage a little bit later than everyone else.
I've got to say, it was almost a surprise to me to see Blackhand jumping up with that Champions banner. It felt like 100 Thieves had it. They had armor. They looked like they were going to take it home. We'll have to, of course, see what happened from the Blackhand point of view, but what a run this has been by Blackhand. We talked about how they won that battle of the south side of the zone. They had no right almost to get into wall with how many teams were stacked up, but they came out of it. They were the sole survivors, having got into that building as well. Wow, 13 kills to go alongside it. Blackhand had to work hard.
It was really a difficult final circle to navigate, especially with, I think it was a member of SAF that was still alive, ratting out in the corner that caught the 2 teams coming out of the building a little bit off guard there, because bubble goes down and 100 Thieves are looking out and saying, why can we see 4 people looking at us here? Why have they got an extra player to work with? Well, that's what happens with a Seerless meta. You can rat out, you can have a player that survives, and they can make a big difference.
Well, this is going to be the final circle from the POV of Blackhand, so we can see exactly how they played it. And we were talking about the defensive bombardment, how it did so much damage. Well, maybe that Watson gen was a big part of why they survived so long.
Yeah, when we saw the Rolling Thunder and the bombardment go down, you just assume everyone is taking a lot of damage, but the gen protected them for so long. They see the bubble. They've got this wall to work with here, and this is when I think the solo from SAF at least distracted 100 Thieves for a short amount of time, and it allowed Black Hand to move into the circle and gain a position. But also look at the damage that is not being taken by K, avoiding as much as he can and then getting into the fight late.
Yeah, you can see though, they're down to 2 at this point. Strafing Flame is down, and 100 Thieves at this point, they were still in a pretty good position, so we'll have to see what happens. And yes, look at this! It's Flushkits who stays alive in that endgame and somehow or other manages to sneak up behind the remaining players of 100 Thieves to clean them up. And a 25-point bomb coming in for Black Hand. I mean, we were talking about how they've had an impressive performance, and that might actually push them into a points position where they might be in that winner's side of the bracket.
Oh yeah, they will be in the winner's bracket for sure. That guarantees it. What we're looking at now with Black Hand is, can they be at the very top when we get into the winner's bracket? They're looking at trying to top this whole thing, let alone just try and qualify, right? They're looking to try and be up there with the Dizzy Heights where Dark Zero were residing, where Dreamfire have been as well. And even though you're not going to get a huge advantage from being that first place team moving into the winner's bracket, think about that confidence to say we were the best team in the group stages.
Other notable performances coming in that match we just saw. 100 Thieves, 14 points for them. We also saw E6 get a good amount of eliminations, being in a position to pick up some placement points as well. At the other end of the tables, once again, quiet for Exit, quiet for Pioneers, and even more quiet for Ascend.
Yeah, for Ascend, clearly contesting isn't going particularly well for them. They moved very quickly, so they didn't have much to work with. And Moist, I mentioned it right when they got eliminated first. They are still searching for those points to try and get into that area of confidence of around 90 plus points. They started the day on 73, so they're still looking for a game to try and work with here.
Yeah, coming into this group, Moist were in 16th position, holding down one of those winner's bracket places, but if they go slow through this group, they're gonna have to watch the final 2 groups going against each other with, shall we say, some trepidation and nerves for sure. Match 2 results on your screen. Here's some of the stats.
So Black Hand, after a second place finish in match number 1, now find themselves on top instead. But it was the 2 teams who were holding on to that building for quite some time. It was 100 Thieves who were on top of it. Black Hand then arrived and went underneath them, and they just were able to wait things out. But in what was a very bizarre final circle, really, that last fight, I'm not even sure he did any damage to that final player. I think it might have been ring damage that finished off 100 Thieves in the end, but I'll have to see it back from 100 Thieves' point of view yet again. But Black Hand proving that they are real competitors here in Birmingham.
And just as people start to feel comfortable, it's one more map of Storm Point to go through before we change things up once more and head over to World's Edge, where I'm sure some teams, as we always know, would prefer to see. Some teams will be like, hey, can we just play the last 3 on Storm Point because we're feeling pretty good. But I want to give the spotlight, quite rightly so, to the winners of our last game, Black Hand, because that was not only an impressive final zone from them, final circle, how they managed to navigate it, but my goodness, did they have a tough rotate, and this is what it looks like after 2 games.
Yeah, Black Hand with 43, just everything they could have asked for. They didn't even need much to get into the winner's bracket after their performances yesterday, but I think showing this consistency in every single set puts them up there in that conversation as well. A team that not only can get to winner's bracket, but start to even think about the Dizzy Heights of Grand Finals. So hats off to Black Hand and how they've been. They just can't allow this performance to start dropping, right? You don't want to peak too early, so you need to make sure you match this now.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, 100%. And now you're looking down the leaderboards a little bit. LG Shivas going about picking up some consistent points. Been some pretty rough zones for them, you would have to say, as they dropped down at Fish Farms on Storm Point, had to rotate up to the north twice in 2 games. Kick Esports, 18 points for them, which certainly is going to boost their points so after day number 1. Elsewhere, you're looking at the likes of J-Links, not able to put together as good a second game as the first, but that first game certainly carried them over here.
Yeah, and I mean, Kick actually getting a chance now because they're not contesting. They are getting to these final circles, and all right, 18 points across 2, double that 36 points after these 6 matches. There's no reason why they couldn't call themselves a winner's bracket team. That's how close everything kind of is from like 15th down all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, it really is so tight on the overall leaderboards at the moment, and we'll try our best to kind of follow those stories of the bubble teams, who's going to be on the verge of qualifying for that winner's side of the bracket as we head into bracket play tomorrow, and of course, who's going to have to fight their way through that elimination side, Dan, because we know better than anyone how tough it is to play match after match after match to force your way into Sunday, and the pressure that just ramps up every single series and game that goes past.
fast.
Yeah, you're going to have to play a lot of Apex Legends if you find yourself in that elimination bracket and want to be in the grand finals on Sunday, which of course everyone wants to be. You want to have that chance to play on the main stage at the biggest tournament of the year, the biggest tournament of Apex Legends so far, $2 million up for grabs. Incredible prize pool.
Yeah, there's going to be so many people watching, and understandably so when we get to that finals on Sunday. But of course, we've got to find out who the 20 teams are going to be in that finals lobby. I can't answer that question for you. That's all I'm going to say to that.
Did he say, can I have a date with Fun FPS, or I have a date?
I combined the two signs there, and I just thought it said, can I have a beer? Yes,
it looked like it said, I have a date with Fun FPS, and I tell you what, fair enough to you. Fun is a funny man. We learned that as well yesterday.
That's true. I also feel like this is a conversation I'm uncomfortable having.
And that's okay. Sometimes you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, Mark, but we're almost ready to get into the next match here. The players have loaded. They are locked. Usually you would say locked and loaded, but I figured I'd go for it the other way.
Oh, you cheeky boy. Yeah, a little bit of a cheeky boy. Anyway, let's talk about this final game then. Let's talk about the leaderboards. Let's talk about who we need to see performing. X have been quiet so far. We just had a little scan over them. They don't look too worried about what's going on so far in the first two maps, because you would say a lot of their heavy lifting was done yesterday with their performance.
It was. They already guaranteed themselves winners bracket. There's no chance that they would fall out of it now, so I think they can kind of relax. They can take it easy. I do think they were unlucky to be eliminated in that match number 2. I think they were caught off guard by another rat. Again, lack of seer means rats are going to exist, and they can very much ruin your game. But I'm all for it. I'm all for rats in the ALGS. It makes it very exciting when you do see a player just come out of nowhere who's hiding in one of those nooks and crannies. You saw the Legend Select going down. I mean, pretty similar compositions across the board. No one going for any drastic changes at the moment. The key differences that I'm seeing across compositions in general is just having that Bloodhound. Because we don't have Seer, teams are not using the survey beacons, but a Bloodhound will allow you to use that survey beacon, which just gives you that extra bit of information if you don't have a ring console to work with.
Yeah, also no Digi in the Crafter until Saturday, I believe, so you can kind of use the scan to be the aggressor when you see those Bangalore smokes going down, as we see Bangalore being pretty much the one pick that everyone has kind of relied on as that entry fragger for their teams here on Storm Point. But speaking of Storm Point, the last time we're going to see it between these two groups, we'll drop it back in. Let's get this game underway.
Do Ascend still continue to go over towards Launchpad? I mean, I guess at this point, your stubbornness and your ego might be the reason why you go down there. Also for Ascend, because they're pretty much guaranteed to be in that winners bracket, they might just want to get some early fights. They might want some contests just in case they're going to be happening when they get into the winners bracket. Get used to fighting early.
Well, it is going to be the fight once more. I'll tell you what, in a contest, if you hit a big shot with a no-sight charge rifle, nothing but vibes.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Go on.
When someone with no scope hits me with a charge rifle in a contest, but
I forgot that you hate.
I really do.
It really gets under your skin.
Grinds my gear. There you go. I'm in 78. That's one way to open things up. Tries to line it up, but does not connect with the second. So Riddle Order, remember, Ascend retreated from this contest in the previous game after losing the first. They got in, they got their weapons, and they got out.
Interesting to see what the plan of attack is going to be this time around. Lufka's going to collect the purple armor that was picked up. His teammate Kashera saying, hey, Lufka, you're our roller fragger. You go in and get that purple armor, and you maybe be the one to contest initially and get that entry damage here. But for now, it looks like both teams just kind of calming themselves down, taking their time. Nobody wants to really take this contest when you don't have to. Just about taking your time to see if you've got enough loot to progress in the game.
But it really does show you how contests can change things. I mean, Ascend just won the previous set, and now they're on 1 point after 2 matches. And you know, if they were to get eliminated here in match number 3, they would be dead last. So it can very much change quickly your fortunes here in the ALGS, and you need to make sure you are prepared for anything. And even though contests sometimes are horrible to watch, but also very fun to watch at times, you need to be prepared for it. But Ascend, as they so often do when they feel like the fight is not going their way or they're at a slight disadvantage, they will make sure they just continue on their rotation. It's intelligent and smart play.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to burn through meds if the fight takes this long. It's just pointless to be involved with it. You see the Kashera, a little bit of a sigh, a little bit of a shake of the head. I think he's as frustrated as anyone if you're an Ascend fan of this contest going down, but they do get to continue on their merry way. But Nick does give us an opportunity now to talk about Zone Down, where we're expecting to go here on Storm Point.
Yeah, so we're going to see a pretty central zone, as you can see on your screen. 100 Thieves, Exet, Blackhand have already found their way in. This is a difficult one to predict if you don't have a ring console, though. We saw this in the previous set, a lot of kind of similar big circles that people were really struggling to try and find out where it's going to be. But if you do have ring console information, it's far easier to try and make your rotation here.
100 Thieves in a pretty good spot as well, although NRG are overlooking them at the moment. It might be interesting to see if NRG and 100 Thieves have a little bit of a scuffle here, but look how quickly everyone is rotating. It was a perfect image of the overhead to just show how quickly people were arriving. It felt like 5, 6, 7 teams almost arrived at the exact same moment.
Yeah, a lot of the POIs had ring consoles to work with. You just hope if you're one of the Bloodhound teams, that if you didn't get a ring console, you've got a survey beacon at least, so you can get that info a little bit later. As you can see now, maybe a push coming in from the Pioneers over towards NRG.
NRG get good damage though, you can see that already. And NRG want to hold, they want to hold the line. I tell you what, that Horizon must be so good, but no, they destroy it almost immediately. So NRG have invested into their ultimates, into their abilities, cannot prevent KCP from taking that bottom floor.
And with the amount of teams that have made their way to these buildings, you can see what a priority is going to be and how big this fight could be for either team if they're able to win it over the other. NRG will still look to try and poke and prod, try and gain that information. Nathan just sliding out there to check that no one was trying to push them from the stairs. But it looks like maybe they might be able to reside together. You can see 100 Thieves also there. I did see in the kill feed as well, Jaylings might have lost one. There were a couple of players that were having a fight against each other, and this is the fight I was talking about. So Jaylings with a 2, unfortunately go down to just a 1, and it's very quickly could turn into a 0.
2v1 at the moment, it's going to be, like you say, a 2v0 as Jaylings, after a immaculate game number 1, barely pick up a point in the next 2. FC Destroy though, you can see there's third parties on the horizon. It's going to be difficult to get a res at this point, but they do have the Newcastle who could just drag them back to their feet if required.
Just so many teams in this area that rotated quickly. They're all fighting for prime positions at the moment. The kill feed again is starting to pop off as Pioneers did eventually go down. It was 100 Thieves in the end who took them. So they did NRG a favor, but are they going to continue running through this?
Oh, yes they are. They want to send this. They want to take control of the building completely. Nathan will be eliminated, Sweet will go down as well, and NRG find themselves as a 1 and struggling after such a quick rotate.
And even though that's frustrating for NRG, they were in a relatively good position at 91 points coming into this, so they probably only need a few to put themselves in that winner's bracket, we think. For 100 Thieves though, it has to be a really big set, and getting into that final circle last time, finishing in 2nd place, it does poise them in a position where they can start to believe now that, okay, this is achievable in this set.
Well, look at this, Exet. They're involved in this fight once more as well. SC Destroyed will be taken out from behind though, and that will be them eliminated too. Now Ascend, who have had a rough start with this contest, find themselves having to find themselves, big damage coming in, but not enough for Kashira to stay on his feet. Lufgar looking to clean things up at the moment, but he will go down as well. And Ascend will fall once more early on in the game here on Storm Point.
I mean, LG Chivas are such a good fighting team. I love being able to watch their POV, and they held so strong there against Ascend. The angles they took were perfect. The bait and switch, like Ascend got so much damage on one player, but then that player would disappear, and suddenly 2 more would appear from LG Chivas to make sure that they followed up with the damage. Kick gets eliminated. We're now down to 15 squads.
Well, news on where that zone's going to be going. It is pulling a little bit more south than what we just saw a few moments ago. LG are going to be approaching it from the eastern side of the zone. Team Singularity, by the way, is still over at Barometer, well outside of where the action is going down. And this is kind of the remnants of the scrap we saw taking place a little bit earlier. FC Destroy we saw fall here. Of course, we saw Jaylings fall and Exit moving in to pick up those positions. NRG are eliminated as Onyx Esports will find the final kill onto Guild.
So Dreamfire arriving from the west here, and they're not the only teams. There's a lot of trouble. Just past,
that's a banger!
Wham bam, thank you ma'am, as now we can see Dreamfire push in.
Send in the sandwich! The juicer grenade, Blackhand eliminated in the meantime, but can Dreamfire clutch up now? That's the question, breaks the shield. It's all up to Roy, can you clutch up for your team? Yes it can! Dreamfire win the fight, and it was all down to the juicer nade.
Just being careful now at Dreamfire. Roy just checking his surroundings. Are we okay? Can I get the revives? Yes, you can. It was the grenade that teed them up, but it was Roy that finished them off. And now we're going to see Dreamfire carry on through here. And they should be able to reset comfortably. Ironblood Gaming, no! I said they might be able to, but Ironblood Gaming, they're in the area now. This is terrible news for Dreamfire.
They're having a look, they're having a poke and a prod. It was Exit actually who got that initial knock from a distance. Peter has gone down once more. As you can see, Ironblood Gaming, they smell blood in the water at the moment. They'll be able to finish off the knock, and after a very, very strong team fight initially, they just couldn't reset in time.
By the way, that was a ridiculous distance, which XZ just got the knock onto Dreamfire. That was an angle of all angles, and that is going to really annoy Dreamfire. But that's what we love. We love teams annoying one another, because that just sets us up when we get into winner's bracket. When you get into teams finding themselves on rotations, you might start to see some death boxes being shot a little bit later on. But Onic, they've got that charge rifle to just try and be a nuisance from a distance as well.
As we say in England, Dan, we love a bit of beef.
We do love a little bit of beef.
We love a bit of beef between the teams. Onic Esports, northern side of zone at the moment. Charge rifle not quite connecting, but as I have previously stated, I'm not going to get your opinion on it, Dan, because I know it makes you feel extremely anxious when you see this weapon. You only have to hit one, and all of a sudden, it's over.
Just get red-faced thinking about it. Blood rushes, sorry. You also said, as we say in England, like we're not in England, by the way. Did you forget that we were in England?
We're a worldwide audience
these days. That's true. We're in Birmingham, the heart of England.
I know where we are, don't worry. Birmingham, right?
The heart of England.
Let's talk about the zone. It has shifted a little bit to the south here. Riddle Order bang inside of it at the moment. 100 Thieves will be safe inside of the compound, and having won that fight a little bit earlier on against NRG, and cleaning up KCP as well. They can now split hold these two buildings, so they have so much real estate to play with, but you know the likes of Exet and Onic are going to see that as well. If they can get the information somehow or other by scouting what 100 Thieves are doing right now, they will be able to maybe press one of those buildings and take it off of them.
Quite like the position of LG Chivas as well, arriving from the southeast. They now will hold the entirety of the southeast side, as long as they don't get pressed by the likes of E6 and Area 310 when they arrive from the north. If they can hold them out and force them the other way around that mountain, then LG Chivas, they'll be in a really good position with where this circle's pulling. You also saw Riddle Order and 100 Thieves were kind of center zone. They should be able to hold out the teams that are arriving from the north. So those will be the three teams I'd be looking out for.
Ah. Run, Roy. Run, Roy. Run, Roy. Keep going.
Oh, yeah, you need to keep going. They're on the hunt. Dark Veil goes down to give them the extra little bit of protection. Run, Roy, run. The next title of the ALGS Global Series.
Oh, no. You are grass, Roy. That's... I believe you are grass.
It's not the easiest grass to blend in with, I will say.
Purple armor will help.
But it looks like maybe they've given up on the chase, and you don't really want to go chasing through Jurassic Park.
You don't want to chase Roy, because he'll just one-clip you.
That is also a concern. But Dreamfire staying alive. Remember, they were second overall coming into this set, and even though they haven't really caught fire as of yet, they only need an average amount of points to put them really at the top of the leaderboard going into the final set of the day.
Oh no. Leave him alone, Prowlers. Leave him alone!
Oh, they give away the
Leave
position.
him alone!
Just let Roy live. We'll check back in later, make sure he's okay, but at the moment
he's not okay.
He's having an adventure over at Jurassic Park.
He's just been eliminated, unfortunately, and those... It's not his fault. It's the Prowlers' fault. The Prowlers were hungry, what can we say?
So Dreamfire go down. As again, it's very calm across Storm Point. I remember once upon a time when Storm Point was constant, hectic action. But now, in this final match here on Storm Point, in match number 3, points so important to try and pick up. SAF, they're going to have to move in 10 seconds. And it's about where you want to go here. They know there's one team ahead of them, that's Exet. But if they go to the left, Element 6 are also going to be waiting.
Riddle Order, the only team within zone at this point. 100 Thieves closest to it. And when I say zone, I mean where the end zone is going to be. But for now, LG are going to sneak their way in. Ironblood Gaming, they have to fight their way through though, and it's going to be Team Singularity who are on the other side of this wall. They will be able to coexist for some time. But for Ironblood Gaming, opening damage here, you have to take advantage of it. If you get damage down and you have the chance to push them back, you need to take it.
I think Ironblood Gaming have been another surprise this tournament. And we've seen a few teams that maybe were lackluster at previous playoffs, but the World Championship seem to be stepping up when you would at least expect it. They were dominating yesterday, and they're looking to try and do more of the same here just outside of Jurassic Park.
Humbly Gaming trying to keep that pressure on. Smokes are going down as well. No scan for the moment for the Bloodhound. Looking at the kill feed though, and you can see that LG are taking a little bit of a fight, and also you can see that XR have been joined by E6 on the low ground. Scan comes in, LG Shivas have been eliminated in the meantime. Slayers! Answering prayers here with these sprays. Whoa!
XR go down. E6 show why they're still competitors, but unfortunately, out of the frying pan into the fire. You've got to try and hold. It's a 2 versus 3. It's Riddle Order getting aggressive on them. And surely there's no way that E6 survive this. Even though try as they might, Riddle Order just have too much players.
Pretty sure it's Case Winnie's left on his own on the fuse. One tappy. Should be another kill for him. Element 6 are eliminated. Even with Slayers pulling off a pretty wild solo play, it felt like, to take XR out of this game. The winners of the Northern Battle present themselves to us all. Iron Blood Gaming now being forced to make this push through the Jurassic. This is what we talked about at the moment, or just a few moments ago, I should say. Yuku's going to go in here. They're trying to stick that res, maybe trying to fake it out a little bit, and all of a sudden, Team Singularity rely on Elysium, and he can't get the job done.
But SAF are there as well, so Iron Blood Gaming go down, and SAF win the battle of Jurassic Park. So we're down to 6 squads. And I tell you what, you know we were mentioning that central zone, and we were talking about the teams that were there. Well, it's actually Area 310 that now find themselves in the best position on the map. Riddle Order at 100 Thieves had to push somewhat north. Onyx Esports and Moist also in the area to try and steal away a victory, maybe. But in 7 seconds, this round's going to close, and there's only one team in that circle, so all the other 5 are going to be scrapping against one another as they move.
One team who's got a really good walk-in is Starfight Esports, having won that Battle of Jurassic, though. They're going to have pretty much a free walk-in. Onyx Esports, the solo is eliminated, as we find ourselves now with just 5 squads remaining in this lobby.
I mean, I struggle to walk and talk, let alone run and gun, but that's what all of these teams are going to have to do here. Slide down any hill you can to try and get a little bit of a speed boost as you input any damage possible to anyone you can see, but this is where the Dark Veils now come in handy. Ultimates, you kind of want to save them for the final circle, but because this is so unpredictable, anyone's using everything at the moment just to try and get into this circle.
Moist Esports trying to force their way in. Starfight are going to be their closest competition, though. Disruptor rounds are going to be on that alternator, no, and that's going to shred away at shields and certainly create opening damage. Look, 100 Thieves, though, they're stuck behind this tree and they are being focus fired, but they do have the Gibraltar. That's going to allow them momentarily to reset, but can they get into a position here to escape the bubble afterwards? The black hole's going to go down on the outside of it, and now 100 Thieves are just meeting the grinder.
What a big moment this could be for Moist. Remember, they are so close to getting towards a toe to consider themselves a chance for the winner's bracket, but now Waltzy, the last remaining player. 100 Thieves go down, 4 squads remaining, but remember there are weak squads as Moist are down to just 1.
I talked about the walk-in for start of fight. They have this side of the zone to themselves, and now they're in a position to clean up some kills, clean up some damage, and most importantly, command space in this final zone. This could be a big win for them if they can keep their cool, keep their composure, and convert.
Well, they still have to go across the water though, and Area 310 are holding the beachfront, as it were. Riddle Order are the other team that could maybe compete from this northern side, because Moist as a 1, you'd imagine, will get sniffed out eventually. Waltzy would do his best as he can to try and survive and avoid any sort of action.
Look at the position here of Area 310 though, right on top of that rock. They're going to have the height for the longest time. Waltzy will be eliminated as Jinxie takes him down. 3 squads remaining now, the solo is dealt with.
Well, at least now we get a straight 3 versus 3 versus 3. No rats to be a pain in the backside here, but Area 310, not only have they got the position on the map, but they also have this Kraber. Lemon as a caustic as well could be a huge influence in this final circle. As soon as that Nox grenade goes down, everyone's going to struggle not only to keep their health healthy, but also struggle to see.
Well, when life gives you Lemon and a Kraber, we're going to have to see if he can make lemonade out of the rest of the lobby. For now, though, it's going to be the Vault. Frag grenade's going to be rolled forward. Dark Veil goes down, and Still commanding this side of the zone is Area 310. They have the Caustic, and we all know that Caustic in end zone can be so devastating.
Area 310 were in 34th position coming into this one on 32 points, so they need a big old game here to give themselves any chance of getting into that winner's bracket, but this is their best chance, if ever. But Riddle Order playing the height very well here and also avoiding SAF at the moment. It really depends where SAF go here. If SAF jump on Area 310, then maybe there's a chance for Riddle Order.
I don't think they have a chance here. Unfortunately, SAF, they just get sandwiched into a corner. They're going to be cleaned up pretty much without taking damage here, Area 310, but they have given up the height, and now you're seeing they lose one player. Starfight still have one player alive as well, and Lemon with the Craven needs to hit the shot, but he whiffs.
What an opportunity that was to kind of maybe set things straight and keep things alive for Area 310. Still a chance with the no-scope, misses that one. Lemon surely going to get pressed and surely will go down here as Riddle Order now dominate this final circle.
Smiak now, who at least gets them into a top 2 position. Riddle Order now should be able to clean this game up. They are dressed in red and they also can call themselves champions. Commanding that high ground in the end game. And we're going to see a few moves on the main stage.
The Riddle win comes through, and we had a team who was in 39th in Riddle Order and 34th in 310 going up against each other in that final circle, which just proves it's not over until it's over. As the Riddle Order wave comes through, and Riddle Order now give themselves a chance. It's still, this is the crazy thing, right? Is that they can still find themselves in the winner's bracket. If they can replicate that game again on World's Edge, they might just find themselves doing the unthinkable with a comeback here in their final set.
Still 3 games of Apex to go for them. And that's a lot of Apex, and that's a lot of points to be picked up by Riddle Order. Getting that win halfway through a set is massive for them. Just to show that they can do it, just to show that they can put big games on the board. And we'll have to see if they can continue with that momentum as we head over to World's Edge.
And as I thought it was going to happen in that final circle.
Kills.
It was all down to what SAF did, and because SAF rotated around towards 310, it meant that Riddle Order just kind of waited for that damage to happen, but they chose the high ground. Riddle Order were very particular about the position that they played. Sorry, I was just, I got locked in then. It felt like it was a staring contest for a short while. But I think that we will be delighted to see any team, especially those who are down at the bottom half of the leaderboards, just showing that things are going to be a little bit different in this set, and they're not going to be pushovers, and they are going to give themselves a chance to maybe get in that winner's bracket.
What's very interesting is that the first 3 games that we've seen, you know, you look at the top of the leaderboards, you look at some of the big names in this lobby, been pretty quiet. However, the teams who are maybe have something more to play for are really starting to come out of the woodwork here and put those points on the board. I'm looking across, you know, we wrote down a list of teams we're keeping our eyes on throughout this. You're looking at Onyx, they've had some pretty good performances. 100 Thieves, that game that they got 2nd place in. Jailings with a win. KCP with some good placings. It kind of just makes it more interesting as we head over to World's Edge, that it's not just one of the bubble teams who's stepping forward and saying, hey, we want to go through to the winner side of this bracket. It's all of them who have had their moments.
Yeah, and the scary thing is, even though we can have a rough number in our head, as can the players of, you know what, 92 to 100, it's not guaranteed. It's not mathematically guaranteed until we get into that final set and we know where people are.
And one team who's actually watching at the moment and not involved in this group is Alliance, and Peeps is down at the Alliance booth. What have you got for us?
What up, everybody? I'm We The People. We are live here in Birmingham, UK at the Alliance booth at Resorts World Arena, all right? So we got a lot of team booths here, but Alliance might have one of the coolest ones here. So you got all sorts of merch, jerseys, t-shirts, but one of the sickest things, they have exclusive ALGS merch that you can't get anywhere else, all right? So if you got some Alliance fans that are friends at home, you got to get them some merch or they're not going to be your friend anymore, all right? But one of the coolest things that you could do here at the booth is you could actually 1v1 Wives, who is one of the greatest players of Apex in the entire world, all right? And if you win, and that's a big if, you get to walk away with some of these Razer products here. So I'm going to 1v1 them right now. Let's see what happens.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my. GG's, man. And listen, that's what happens when you're a season 17 #1 pred going up against one of the best in the world. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you'll never know if you don't come check out the Alliance booth here at ALGS Championship in Birmingham, UK.
All right, I feel like we need to go walk around the floor a little bit and check out some of those booths because that looked like way too much fun, Tiff.
Don't want to go over there and try to chow any of those players. I know my space is right here with my glorious Nessies. This is where I will remain.
I get smoked. That's like.
Okay, but maybe Bullet can save all of us. Then.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how we go. Might need to
no
give it a
faith.
try.
No faith. We'll get him up there eventually and see how that goes. But of course, make sure you guys are checking out all the cool stuff that you can do here at the Resorts World Arena. We're now halfway through our second to last series of the day. Some really, really strong performances coming out of the first half. And we've got to talk about the final circle because this was a massive moment for Riddle Order here, Bullet.
Yeah, look, the way that Riddle played was like super smart. You can kind of see they're sitting up here on the high ground. They're doing damage, but they're not going over, like they're not playing over aggressively. Like you can see they're doing damage, they're putting pressure, they're trying to force the teams into each other without over committing. And you can see this bang ult goes out here and that just forces them into each other. This wrap here was so perfect because they managed to capitalize off the damage that they were doing. Like, look, you can see here, Valk does the damage, they get the knock, and then they swing in. And this was perfect play. Like, they're all coordinated, they're all pushing together, and they just jump on that team and kill them straight away.
You know, it's funny watching how impactful things like Bangalore ult are in these moments, because I remember back when I started playing Apex Legends, I was like, well, I'm just going to play Gibby, because you get instant value out of that ult. And seeing how pros are able to utilize the added pressure that Bangalore ult puts on a team, and how much space you can own for just a few seconds is so impactful. So much so that it turns into a 24-point game. Not bad. Not bad at all.
That is the impact that Riddle Order needs here. Now, I saw a little bit of scuffle on the timeline, not only between Riddle Order and Kashera from Ascend, because Ascend decided to switch up their drop spot, thinking of the bracket stages, right? Leaving Cenote Cave and dropping on Launchpad where Riddle Order goes. So Riddle Order's like, hey, yo, and Kashera goes, it's nothing personal, but the thing is, Riddle Order came out of a contest to a win with not only that 12 eliminations of 24 points, they could find themselves in the winner's bracket if they keep this up.
Yeah, that is a performance that we were looking for from them for a while, and they just showed everyone what they are capable of. We heard the casters talking about it as well. That's going to be a huge boon to their momentum now heading into the next map. Hopefully they're able to maintain that as we see where the rest of our teams fell here. I mean, Jailing's down there at the bottom, but that's not even counting for the fact that heading into that match, they were in 7th, had a really strong start to their World's Edge performance here, Dia. And are there any other surprises, though, that jump out at you?
Surprises for me, definitely Dreamfire and Black Hand, more because of the way that it happened than anything else. And it was due to some really smart play from other teams that we can talk about a little bit later, I suppose. But Dreamfire getting taken out on a southern rotation from a couple of other squads, Ironblood Gaming, as well as Team Singularity. And then Black Hand getting ooped. They got jumped on from Area 310, who played this game fantastically. So I don't know if we have time, we'll talk more about 310.
I mean, Black Hand gave themselves a little bit of a cushion, though, with their first 2 games worth of a performance. And we'll check where all of the teams are now standing, that we've made it through the halfway point of our series. Like we've been saying, obviously that was the first half. We're going to be switching our maps on over from here. And that could potentially have some implications as far as their performances go as well, Bullet. But like we said, Black Hand at the top, 44 points.
Look, we have to talk about Black Hand and their comp. Like, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. They were playing like such a crazy comp, you know. They might be one of the only teams to be running. What were they playing? They had Catalyst, and who else was?
I'm lost. I saw them get ooped, and I was watching 310.
Sorry, they were playing double controller, and I mean, like I think they're one of the only teams to be running double controller.
Yes, Cat, Watson, Bang.
Yep.
Cat, Watson, Bang. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, and I mean, just the way that they're playing with such an off-meta comp, like. It's so nice to see.
Yeah, and I would love to touch on that because you think of the wall ending. Specifically, this is the same zone that we had witnessed Start a Fight Esports winning from the rooftop. And unfortunately, Black Hand was down below inside the building, but utilizing the double controller legends. Not only was Catalyst able to reinforce the doors, but they doubled down through the Jenny and fenced it up as well.
And if you don't have 2 of those legends, both the Catalyst and the Watson, this doesn't work because they're not only able to prevent getting naded and Gibby ulted, but they're also able to create so much space in an end zone. And it's interesting that we see it play out that way just because of the impact that cooldowns can have on your late game and how flexible some of these controller legends are.
All right, well, now that we saw what happened here, let's give a little bit of love to Riddle Order, because obviously they took home the dub, but they took home the dub in style. Like you said, Tiff, they had 12 kills to close this thing out, on top of having to deal with that start of the game. So they had a phenomenal performance.
A phenomenal performance indeed. I stopped by their merch booth just yesterday and snagged one of the free fans, and I was like sitting on it in the green room. I was like, I'm gonna bring this up if they win this. And I was like, well, I don't want to jinx them or anything. And then of course I forget it here on the desk, and what happens? Riddle Order wins. I know, a little reverse curse.
It was nice watching the way that they approached this game as well, because this game, more than any that we've had so far on Stormpoint, was fully dictated by information. This contest is really exciting, but it turns into getting a beacon scan for Riddle because they're the ones that actually push Ascend all the way out. That beacon scan turns into a great zone prediction because the spot that they were in at the end bullet is only really good if that's where the zone is ending. Otherwise, you have to exit us all the way with the other teams.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy how they managed to recover their game considering they're contested, you know. Having a team just randomly jump on you completely throws all your plans out the window, and to be able to just come back and kind of reassess the situation and just navigate the game like that, it's really impressive to see.
All right, well, we still have half of the series left to go, obviously. If you guys haven't been following along with us on all of our social media platforms or in our live stream, make sure you're doing that because we have so many more days of competition left in our entire championship, and you don't want to miss a single second of all of that action at Play Apex Esports across our social media. And of course, we've been talking about regional dominance, and we've seen so many of these other regions stepping up to the plate, specifically APAC. They have been dominating. Apex South has been a force to be reckoned with, and we actually had Genome get a chance to sit down with one of our Apex South teams in Moist and see what they attribute their success to.
My name is MT.
My name is Walty.
My name is Fussy, and I play for Moist Esports.
Main thing that Fussy brings to the team is like confidence. Like controller players are just so confident, and having a second one makes me and Walty both more confident because we know no matter what fight we take, he's just gonna do damage, or he might just open the fight by one clipping someone or something like that. And it's just so easy to be confident with that extra firepower on the team.
Cracked. Dead. Reset.
Fussy comes in, just another top tier controller player, and can hold his own. He's like shown it at previous lands.
The boys offered me an opportunity, and I said, I'm going to take it. I've got a very high chance of winning with this team.
Dark Zero going to dare to push his face now. And Dark Zero, they take each other on head-to-head. Points come down from the skies. Are they going to be able to capitalize on this damage? Zero is the last alive. He will go down. Face trying to hold. Moist just have Waltzy, and all of a sudden, that's all they need.
I would say the biggest thing I would bring would be my mental, my confidence, and just my overall mental fortitude. I've had to like figure out my role in the team, going from like a main fragger on Onyx to a support player and like a refragger on Moist. It's been a bit rough, but I mean, like, we've figured it out. I think we know what we're doing now.
He gets another knock on the other side of Bang. Oh! They called in. The beam coming in from Empty.
Probably I'd say the discipline gets us to where we are, and that comes mainly from Empty. So
it's like I feel like if you're disciplined and you like consistently practice and you play the same all the time, then that translates into game.
Just by a hair, but it's going to be up to Kings to do it. It's one worse now with the shield swap. Hitting 1v1 onto Waltzy. No, it's Moist who cleans it up.
Me personally, I didn't ever get play different at LAN. I didn't get nervous. I don't know, for LAN's like never been different to online tournaments to me, so I don't think it's really factored into it at all.
LAN definitely just brings out kind of like a different emotion, different like confidence for me. Online's like cool and all, but being in front of like an audience and like the setting that it is, just that live audience is just something else and just gets me even more locked in.
The 6th felt a lot better than the 7th. Going into a finals where you've got 10 seeding points and not making match point is, you know, never a good look. So we're still happy, but, you know, obviously winning's the goal, so it's like we're never complacent, I guess. We go into it with the idea that we are one of the best teams in the world, we can win, and especially if things go our way, we will win.
It's definitely a good feeling to be on like the best team in Apex South, but end of the day, they want the same thing, I want the same thing, is to like win LAN. Winning Apex South is nice, but I want to win the world.
Esports, they need the energy right now. They are sitting in the bubble for our top 20 teams to be able to go forward through the winners bracket here, Gino. It is beautiful to be able to see that passion, but they need to be able to try to continue that going into World's Edge now that we're done with Stormpoint.
I mean, yeah, Moist want to come into this looking scarier than ever with the double roller setup, right? You can actually see Fussy's flexing that snake tattoo there. I was having a little bit of a chat to him about snakes. Apparently, he kept some snakes at home with his dad, up to 10 feet long. So just for any of you out there who are like, no, that doesn't happen in Australia. No, we actually do keep them as snakes occasionally, as pets occasionally.
Honestly, that is terrifying, but I respect it. I know sometimes people like to collect like the shed skin too, hang them up as a trophy. You know, respect. Not for me personally. I'd be terrified. But what I am terrified at the moment is Black Hand after those first 2 games and their performances, taking the dub on game number 2 and the double-digit KP on top of that. Yeah, they got maybe a little too comfy, and on the other hand, you also love to see a story like Riddle Order where Ascend says, you know what, no disrespect, but we're gonna land on you, give up Cenote Cave so that way Kick could get a kick out of that one, get some space to work for it, and then end up losing the contest where Riddle Order not only took them out, but took the game on top of it. The consistency, though, that's important as we transition into World's Edge. Think about some heavy fragging teams, actually. When you talk about team fighting, or rather, teams that are very good at fighting, Moist comes to mind here, and they're struggling a little bit, Gino. What do you think is going on here that Moist could do a little different as we transition into World's Edge?
Yeah, I mean, it has been a tough start to the series for them, Vicky. Will they feel more confident over at Overlook than they did it at Command Center? I don't know, honestly. I would actually say the Command Center is probably a better POI from them to play from. And then, you know, you're talking about the other heavy-hitting teams there, like Black Hand. Again, they probably want to be getting the majority of their points while they do have access to their Stormpoint POI dropping over at Stormcatcher. You know, they really just have to go full-on fast rotate now that they're playing from Landslide here.
Taking a look at the overhead and where our teams are going to be landing. FC Destroy, Le Chic de France. That's going to be a 50-50. That's going to be fun to watch off the rip from the dropship. But then overlooking everything else, things seem situated here for now. But things can change like we had seen going into Stormpoint. It was something that had changed right before jumping into that group stage.
Yeah, well, I mean, just thinking about the sort of Stacks and Big Mord interaction there, you know, we saw some teams going at it with Optic there, yesterday it was, but, you know, I don't think we've had 2 teams contest while another team's over at Stacks as well, so that could create even further chaos here on World's Edge.
That'd be nice, because I believe IBG actually ends up landing over by Stacks, so you don't end that fight fast enough, well, that's going to be the inevitable third party that's going to meet you on the other side.
And Asia, you know, he was the kill leader going into yesterday, right? Looking to add to those tallies if they can. And we've seen teams be ruthless about that so far this tournament. If there is a third party within earshot, they will just barrel over there and try and get in there immediately, which is fun, right? Because when you think about scrims, where a lot of these contests happen for the teams vying for those drop spots, it's actually frowned upon to third party them quickly. But when you switch it over to tournament, everything is fair game.
Exactly. I love how you put that in, especially now that a lot of these teams already know where their points stand and what this sets them up for. Some of these teams have limited games left. Right now, we're entering game number 4 to determine where their finishing spots are in the overall standings. I mentioned why Black Hand is so scary with the points that they've already accrued so far. They're sitting at the very top of the overall standings across all the teams here in Champs. You look at teams like IBG, the team that could third party that 50-50. I believe they're sitting in 10th in the overall standings. So teams like this that have these points already noted, that's why we're seeing opportunities where griefing is going to come into place, because at this point, you can know which teams have much more comfortable room to work with, or teams that are sitting in the bottom end where they really need to work and get not just the dub, but the KP hand in hand before we jump into this game.
Yeah, I mean, looking at those standings, it looks like there's roughly about 8 teams that have sort of made it through to the winners bracket, most likely so far. Some of those other ones, like you mentioned, IBG sitting at 91, just have a little bit to do. They don't need many points, just a few on each of these World's Edge maps here, Vicky, and they will make it through.
Yeah, because after this, series here, we have groups A versus C. So for B and D, this is the last chance opportunity for these teams to be able to get those points, because that's it. There is no other chance beyond these next 3 games.
Exactly. And yeah, as we talked about, that cutoff will be somewhere probably between 95 and 100. So if you're calling 100 safe, then it is NRG and upwards from there right now in the overall standings that have made it to triple digits, and you will see them in the winners bracket.
It's crazy to see that too, the disparity between the teams that have been so consistent when we take a look at our fans trying to give their energy to Riddle Order. But it's also the cheering that maybe gives the power up to some of these teams that they need right now, as you can see, showing off our players from Riddle after taking that dub. With 12 KP, by the way, so far a lot of our winning teams have not only been able to take the dub from those placement points, getting those 12 extra points, but also being able to get the KP that they need. J-League's didn't get double-digit KP, they did get 7 nonetheless, so that's something that they desperately needed, as well as Black Hand getting those 13 KP, but Black Hand also being one of the more consistent teams that we have seen thus far throughout yesterday into today.
Yeah, I mean, we were even having a chat with Graceful back in the green room just before we came up here for this cast, Vicky, and he was saying he considers them as, you know, one of the more top teams right now. Man, Riddle must have like some of the most personality out of any teams here. But talking about personality, you can't go past Nasky either.
You're literally panning over all these players that are so expressive, excited. Nasky, of course, being one of those veterans that come to mind. But it looks like we got the countdown now on the bottom right-hand screen, and we are just getting set up to dive into this 4th game. Once again, thank you guys so much for your patience. But even more exciting, Stormpoint into World's Edge. What does that mean? Yeah, I mean, look at this, couple of crypto players here. Noise is actually joining Kashera on that pick. Scuri has been bringing it back with the Gibraltar as well. Maybe even seeing that out of FC Destroy. Yeah, we saw the give you over there. Things have shifted around a little bit, but let's not waste any more time. We are already in the dropship. Let's get this game rolling. Our first game on World's Edge between our groups B and C. Crowd getting excited. And once again, keep your eyes on that early 50-50 between FC Destroy and Le Citer France. But since we are starting off from the north side of the map, we get to see where all of our teams in the north side of World's Edge get to situate themselves first. Moist obviously going to Overlook. They got nice loot to work with on top of the Crafter, the Ring Console, and the Survey Beacon on top of that. And this is the 50-50 that we're mentioning. Here's Le Citer France already moving up to Harvester.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if Ascend were actually you know, expecting this, because we did have Le Citer France over at Big Maud. That was the expectation, at least from good old Sven's maps. But it looks like it's going to be the Harvester contest. I mean, we've seen so much of it throughout this year, and just as people have come to realize Harvester more and more as that very important and you know, powerful POI, the rotational access that it gives you, that's why we're seeing more and more teams drop there. But Ascend, seemingly wanting no part of it. They have tucked tail and run.
Kashera said, I got the purple Evo, we took some shots, we are out of there, and they immediately rotate away. But unfortunately, this is what happens when you start shifting some of these POIs around, and you start changing things depending on how the points are looking across the board, and this is your last chance to play in this lobby. This is how things are going to be moving around, and we are seeing a Northern Circle pool closer to Skyhook and Grandma's building.
Yeah, as you can see, it was only the 2 teams dropping down at Big Maud and Stacks there. Because we do see LCDF go into Harvester. I'm honestly a little bit confused. Maybe they lost the Drop Master contest. Maybe that's why Ascend went out, because at this point, Ascend are at 102 points. They've really got nothing to lose, right? It doesn't matter where you end up in that winners bracket match. As long as you're there, it's fine. Why not take the fight?
Le Citer France landed in the middle, and with the addition of the middle of the Harvester loot, yeah, you get gold loot basically guaranteed at that point. You have, if it's not a gold shield, it's sometimes a gold weapon. So they saw that they landed there first, and they had kind of split over to the north side of Harvester, where they understand at least they'll get the purple Evo if they can obtain that, and then just rotate away with that loot if they can.
If it was a surprise to Ascend, sometimes when you're not actually expecting the contest, you do slack off a little bit as Jump Master, right? And as you're saying, if that's the case, they don't get the honeypot loot at the bottom of Harvester, and at that point, it becomes very hard to take the contest.
You gotta think about your win con too. If you're gonna be rotating quickly away from Harvester, guess who else is gonna be rotating in that direction? It could be Kick, since I've already taken an evac tower to rotate to the north. Ascend?
100 Thieves on the other side of this. They get...
Oh, just tries to get the jump on them from up ahead against 100 Thieves, but while they're taking this fight, there's another team right behind them. I believe it's going to be Area 310, but they're just going to be rotating away from this opportunity. So Ascend have now taken Monument, have now taken the Crafter, and they actually have some room to breathe there because there's no other team other than 100 Thieves who could now re-rotate back into this fight that could poke at them from afar, that could get engaged here.
You got to be sneaky. You got to be creative when something doesn't go to plan, like how they started out. The shots under Lufka certainly are not what he wanted.
It's also nice to note that there is a ring console that Ascend could take advantage of, and since they don't have information and they're running the Watts and that's what they want, and Onyx Esports in the middle of that rotation exiting out from that south side have already found themselves in some trouble.
Yeah, and it could be even more trouble for them soon. Kick, as you can see here, just on the southern side of that tunnel, and they could come up to pinch them now between LCDF as well. This is not going to end well. Onyx completely removed.
First team out of this lobby, and it's not going to be the team that went for a 50-50 themselves. Does get stuck by a knuckle cluster as they rotate away. Catalyst wall was called in already. Just in case, you know, it's the insurance policy, just in case I don't know if there's another team up ahead, but they were getting pinned from behind originally, and we have another fight happening on the other side with Moist.
Yeah, here we go, up on the drill tower, halfway up at least. That's Waltzy there. You can see Moist in a little bit of trouble.
And
actually going there, gets the stick! The perfect use of the gravity lift.
Actually crazy, he went all the way up there. Don't know if there was another Arc Star that was placed in that position, but the creeping barrage come in and he did get knocked, but it doesn't look like maybe it was another Arc Star coming in from the distance.
Maybe it hit the knockdown shield. Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of there, why that wouldn't have done more damage and gotten a knock by itself. Either way, as you can see, once you take too much time, we've got other people, other teams, Jailings there, Blackhand also looking on. NRG, man, these spots are so hard to play early on. I do not like this tower as an early game position.
That is, I'm so glad you said that. I was about to mention that right afterwards too, because when you rotate here early, unless you have the proper comp, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, in this case, they do have the Catalyst, they have the piercing spikes that they can put at their feet, they have the Bangalore and the Bangalore smokes, but then when you have to worry about Digitread sometimes there too, it can be detrimental.
Yeah, Newcastle, if you're a Newcastle team, I could see this being a playable spot early, but I think we are going to see NRG just burn through meds at a rate of knots now.
And they don't have a Loba, so, and there is
look
30 shots in every corner. Where do you go?
Yeah.
They have to drop down now. It's inevitable, and they've already used so many beds, giving up that position currently as FC Destroy all the way closer to Overlook, engaged on this fight. We saw this earlier too. It was Riddle Order to the north of FC Destroy and IPG looking to get involved as they take their time to rotate into that next circle and play more so by the edge.
Yeah, both of these towers attracting a lot of attention on opposite sides of the map here, and yeah, quite a few teams getting involved. It's not really a clean fight on either side.
FC Destroy picking up the gold R9 as that Digi2, but spread out a little bit. You mentioned the Gibraltar at the very beginning diving into this game. Pinotar was on that Gibby, and now Hammerdro having to play off to the side, gets immediately focused on. IPG benefiting the most of this fight as they exit out of this Overlook area. Team Singularity are also looking to get a piece of the pie.
Now that the other team has been removed from the height, while everyone's in the zone, it does give them a little bit of potential here, but after not seeing anyone, they're going to drop off and try and just play it a little bit safer back into zone, even having to burn the catwall. You can see all three members have taken quite a bit of damage. Riddle Order above them as well, probably on the medkits right now.
This next move by IBG seeing where the circle's pulling now is going to be important too. If they still want to extend on this fight, tosses out the arc star here and starts rotating around through the low ground.
I mean, this is quite a bizarre split here. We've got so many teams clustered into the zone, Skyhook, Northern Tunnels, and then you've actually got a massive concentration of teams over on the east side here. It's a very strange situation.
And the cluster doesn't end. If you saw in the corner right there, it's Luminosity who want to get involved in this fight. A little upset that they didn't get an invitation to the party here. You see the EMP ringing out on the side as LG go right behind Riddle Order. IBG in some trouble. Ziki on the other side has a Digi threat. Start a fight, get eliminated in your B tier, and Ziki may just join them in the lobby if he can't get away.
Yeah, he's looking for that hint of red in his crosshairs, but he doesn't find it, and IBG will go down. Riddle Order, we saw them struggling in the zone. They've managed to make it in, but only just barely, and I think at this point it might be the play your life call.
Said I'd already used the EMP, and they're still holding that north side by the truck, but like you mentioned, this cluster over here on the edge of the circle where they have to now rotate in the next 25 seconds, it's going to be detrimental to see which of these teams get to those train tracks north of Survey Camp, because that's going to be a nice spot to rotate from, considering the fact that Moist is already holding those tracks themselves through the tunnel. So to make that final rotation to Skyhook is going to be very difficult when you take too long in this fight.
Yeah, Moist are giving themselves lots of options there up at the top. And out of all of these teams on the eastern side here, I feel like Ascend is probably the one with the most options. You can see LG actually clearing up more teams down the bottom there. That's Riddle Auto, might have to go even further into the zone. Maybe they can pick up a banner and respawn, but it's going to be a tough ask for them, I'd say. Singularity also on their last legs as LG just look up to clean even more kills. I mean, at this point, they've got, well, 2 to their name to start with, but I mean, geez, this has been a bloodthirsty game. Look, round 2 closing, we've got 13 squads left. Big.
And with Ascend taking to the skies, gonna be able to take the high ground right here, close to Epicenter, try to cut off the other teams that are gonna be rotating from the south side of this fight. So although, yes, they were quick on the rotate, it's about cleaning up the rest of those teams because they have the points already necessary that they've gotten to be comfortable enough to just fight for kills rather than for that placement.
Yeah, it definitely has been a struggle to see who gets the KP here over towards Overlook. That's really all they're playing for at this point. The other 10 teams that we're talking about have just been sitting pretty, because honestly, it's the opposite of what you usually see in these Skyhook zones. Admittedly, you know, if you get it directly over Skyhook, everyone's pretty much going to go for a building this time because it's over to the east of Skyhook. I think that's why we're seeing a little bit more chaos in this lobby, but you know, teams still could have played for those buildings. They don't. They all head over towards Overlook, and it was just a constant stream.
Where Moist is sitting in currently in the north side of those tunnels is very similar to what Exit does when they hold position and they don't know if the circle is going to shift to the right or left, so they try to go for a 50-50 spot so that way they could get a better rotation. And same could be said about where Moist positioning is. This is actually going to be pulling towards the rock side of Skyhook on the east side, kind of on the outskirts of those buildings. So the squads that have to exit out of those buildings themselves, that have already found some space like Area 310, exit in the middle of the area of Skyhook, it's going to be a bloodbath because then you're going to be out in the open for teams like Moist to just shoot at you from the high ground.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to try and give Sweet some credit, right, I mean, he called the zone pretty much
sniper tower.
Exactly right. That tower is where it is going, but you know, unfortunately, it's just one of those places where you can't get in there early, and unfortunately, NRG got taken out completely, right? So they're not going to be able to take advantage of that. Yeah, Psychop with the Kraber.
Gravity lift, the Thermite at their feet. Kid is going to get taken down already. 3MZ with the cover fire. Doesn't even have a digi threat here on his R9, also lacking on some land ammo as well. Taking this fight inside this building, though, is going to be an invitation for third parties to also try to get involved. Fans in the crowd trying to give them their energy here as Zane gets taken out. Exit in this fight themselves, trying to jump right beyond the knockdown shield, tossing out the nade, open up the door as they try to fight their way through the reinforced catalyst door.
Okay, so I think we've got Dreamfire and Exit down the bottom here, and then it was KCP on the second floor right now. This really is just a wild fight here as Exit go, hey, hopefully there's enough chaos around. I'm just going to stick this res because we've got the gold knock, and I may as well go for it.
It's a good option coverage because you throw the gravity lift by the door. You also are able to make sure that the door behind you has already been reinforced at that point, so they're going to be able to get the res around that corner, even with KCP being right there. Another team that's just trying to restabilize here while sharing that second floor. Eventually, they are going to have to start moving away from this building, and Area 310, once again, is in the area. 100 Thieves neighboring the building next to them. J-Lings in the building to their north.
Yeah, Dreamfire is the casualty of that fight. Blackhand probably in the most central position in the map right now as far as the next circle goes. As you can see, playing that trailer, a slightly safer option there than playing the top of the tower. Exit, now that they've reset, are going to go up against KCP, who are down a member or two.
Oh, he had rotated out of there right before they even all wrapped around the corner, but it's about that situational awareness there. Tries to see if he has the opportunity to wrap around. It's the Wraith that's trying to set up a portal here.
Oh, no, that's a bad time to be taking that.
Area 310 wanted to see what the action was and immediately regretted it right afterwards. Set up a portal that's an open invitation that XS is just going to look at for right now. Not going to take that. May not be safe enough, especially if they haven't assessed the situation. And they see the Kraber in their hand from the window.
Okay, over at Survey Camp, this is sort of the continuation of that Overlook conundrum that we had going on before. So this is going to be Riddle Order versus LG version, I don't know, 3 by this point. Oh, Niesel getting a great angle there through the Thermite and re-peaks it for another crack.
Oh, it gets the knock though onto Niesel on the other side. It's Riddle Order, the Citer Fonts, and Ascend sniffing out the fight that they missed out on before. It's been 50 years since this fight has been going on, and it's gonna be 50 more. Going in, finally diving into this building. Riddle Order get eliminated. The Citer Fonts having some fun as the EMP comes in.
The EMP, that signals you know who it is. Ascend on the back end of this. They might not have the Bloodhound scans to tell them who's in there, but the EMP would have given them the information. Do they have enough firepower to take this out? Though Kashera, he tries to get out, but no. What a beautiful turnaround from LCDF with a little bit of help from LG.
Psychop with the Kraber once again until they finally take out the last member of the Citer Fonts. That's going to be at the hands of Yanya as LG now make their rotation.
Okay, I feel like we can finally calm down a little bit, right? Because essentially, all of those Eastern teams, they've sorted it out. LG, you are the winners. Congratulations. You only get 2 players to play the rest of the game with, but hey, you're walking away with 7 KP or something like that right now in a top 10 position. So congratulations to you. All the other teams, unfortunately, are looking on a little bit enviously, and everyone else who decided to play zone, they get to start now.
But now you're forced to go through the choke point right in front of Moist that have been holding this position since the beginning of time of this game. So LG playing this out as a duo, already at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. Teams now exiting out of Sky, this is what I was talking about, exiting out of these buildings. You're out in the open. Yes, you have the natural cover of the Rock's fence line, but now having to fight with the ring against your back. Black Hand, one of our more consistent teams right now, fighting for their life, strafing Flame. Doesn't look at the shield swap, sees that it's already empty, is going to be able to pop the shield back for right now as the catwall is blocking to the right.
Does look like it's a 2v2 at this point. Gets the headshot with the Kraber, and they'll push straight through the smoke to try and get this final wipe onto Exed here.
Easy flash to his head, I guess here. Exit get taken out, and Waltzy take out Yanya with the nade. LG Chivas get taken out of the lobby. 5 squads left. Moist Esports still will be able to approach this next circle, even if they're not in it, from that slight hilltop of a high ground there in that next choke point that you can see currently.
So they've been playing very safe, very conservatively, and that's definitely worked out for them already. The 4 placement points in hand, as well as a couple of kills. Blackhand is the other one who we're worried about. You can see them up in the top end there. Blackhand, they are playing Bangalore, Watson, Catalyst. An interesting composition.
That's the Picasso painting that you see painting the entire floor of World's Edge right now with the Watson fences. Made a little S over to the right side. But this also really highlights the difference of playstyles that these teams are forced to play with. Moist playing for positioning patiently. They're at risk. That's why they're one of the bubble teams, unlike LG, Ascend, who can play a lot more aggressive to just take fights that they don't have to worry about losing against just in case they get third-partied.
Yeah, I mean, I believe they were playing a bit more Wraith on World's Edge at the last Split 2 playoffs, Vicky, so interesting to see Blackhand continue to experiment here, and it's obviously working. I mean, 52 points right now in this series is very impressive.
Let's jump into a listen-in with Easy Flash having the Kraber in his hand and what their next move is going to be since they're sitting in the circle.
On you, Mark.
Wait, Mark, come.
They're going here. Player. 130 on the fucking GP.
I'm trying to go.
I've fallen 20%.
They're bubbled
Yeah,
here.
chill.
65 on tower.
I have so many nets. I have so many nets, player.
Yeah.
I'm just looking tower. It's just you guys here.
Yeah. They killed solo.
99 on tower. Towers. Queuing up. Fuck. Okay, they're just there.
You
we just need to place up.
Right side, Mark. Right side.
I think we'll need to take control of this eventually, just like we have to do it late. I can wall this way and then we can just look to play there. I'm gonna wall like a little bit early. 88 and the guy on hype.
Careful.
Yeah.
Mark, do you need
I'm gonna wall from me to here and then we just walk in for this.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, I need
Just play slow. Just hard stay tower for now.
Yep.
I have so many nets. I have DG also.
I don't have Digi.
I'm like pissing on these guys.
Yeah, you have to like always shoot them.
I am. You just need to stare my right. If I get peeked from right, I die.
Yeah.
Left vessel walk in first. We just shit on them. We need to focus the catalyst, okay? Don't let them get a cat wall down.
Yeah.
That's their win condition. I'm calling it now. I'm gonna dome this guy. I'm gonna double headshot him.
Okay.
Watch me miss every bullet.
They're fucking under.
Wait, what?
Already.
When they drop?
They're dropping.
Oops.
I think.
I'm walling now.
Okay.
Well, fence the wall.
Yeah.
We can't let them wrap our left, yeah?
Yeah.
They're pushing right. They're underneath the tower right now.
I'm multing.
Yeah.
They get all.
I'm kind of shitting on them. Just fire.
Yeah.
Don't let us get wrapped on the right. Fence it.
Decking.
I'm checking this right wall. Hey, play on me.
I'm getting fences real quick.
They're on the field.
They're on the right.
We're split.
Play towards the left. Play towards the left. Just play towards the left. Play on my side, player. Play my side.
Okay.
Big left.
Play left.
Play left.
Play left. We're good. Play on me. Play self. Play on me. Play self. We're chilling.
I
think.
One anything.
I think we just chill. Play left again.
Okay.
Left again.
I'm getting hit by Q.
Sam.
It's chill.
No,
I can't.
Just chill.
I'm eating Q.
I'm dead.
They're not out yet. Strafing Flame is still alive for now as Moist Esports take to the high ground. The Catwalls looking like tic-tac-toe. 2 squads left. 100 teams eliminated and the last member of Blackhand get taken out with Moist Esports taking game number 4, our first game on World's Edge. And they needed it, Gino.
And they've done it exactly in the fashion that Moist like to. A quick rotate up to a northern circle. They've got decent priority there from Overlook they set up in the northern tunnels. As you mentioned earlier, Vicky, that gives them options. If it goes to Skyhook, if it goes even further west or further east, either way, it's actually quite easy to either push out from the tunnels or you've even got the balloon in those northern tunnels. If it's a weird pull, it goes even further, as you do see sometimes on World's Edge. And from there, it's just that really rock-solid gameplay that we see Moist coming out and taking. I think the most interesting thing we got out of that listening from Blackhand, for one, Strafing Flame, great IGL, right? You can hear him. He's got so much confidence in himself, but they did blow that catwall a little bit early. I think that was one of the things that probably stopped them getting the best position that we saw Moist take over them in the end.
Shout out to the Moist boys. I know Charlie watching at home, even got a plushie of him himself. 10 kills with the dub, and they needed it. Once again, one of our bubble teams, Moist, that's why they had to play for position. And when I mentioned that it's a very similar spot that you would expect teams like Exit to hold, it's because Exit usually likes to hold positions that they could go either rotate to the left, rotate to the right, have a better rotation point basically. But they were also blocked by like 5 other teams that made their way into Skyhook. As we take a look at a replay.
Yeah, so we saw the Bangol coming through there. Blackhand actually had their generators ready to go to block that out. You can see Moist hiding in the crate to make that happen. And then it was a matter of the high ground, which really helped them out quite a lot. Obviously, you can see here waiting for the bubble to go down. As soon as that's gone, these alternated disruptor shots start coming through to just shred those shields. That was the peak We saw, I think it was straight from Flame Easy Flash taking there, and from this point, if they can't even see them, who cares? They're just throwing bullets out anywhere, and they will hit something.
Especially since you saw that 100 Thieves were engaging at first against Blackhand. That was just the green light for Moist Esports to rain all that pressure from the high ground. No one was looking at them. Finishing off with not just the dub, but with 10 kills to their name, getting 22 points. Once again, that they needed. Blackhand as consistent as ever as well. I mean, getting second place, it may not be the dub this time around. They already got the dub game number 2, but it's being able to stay up in contention in the top 3 with 3 points on top of that.
I mean, yeah, going into that game, or at least towards the end of it, they were something like 20 points clear of the next team in this lobby right now. So adding to it with another second place, those guys are going to be on top of the world. I mean, I was even having a go at landslides, right? Saying, yeah, it's fine. They got the points on Storm Point, and you know, World's Edge might be a bit tougher. Nope. Straight into it with another fantastic effort from our Apex South guys.
And on the other side, in the second page, you see Dreamfire in 13th. Only 1 KP, not getting the placement that they needed. KCP, we saw the chaos that went down inside the buildings close to Skyhook. So many fights broke out once that circle had to close and force all these teams outside of the Skyhook buildings. Our top 3 squads, though, 100 Thieves, fortunately falling in third once they wanted to actually take that fight against Blackhand, because unfortunately they were the most exposed against Moist.
Look at that, 10 kills, Blackhand and 100 Thieves. Again, they didn't pick up too many of the kills because all that nonsense was happening over towards the east side of World's Edge this game. You know, once that happened, we get to have a look at the scoreboard as it stands now. As we mentioned, Blackhand well in front at this point. A nice third place for 100 Thieves does put them up to 37 with Riddle, Order, and Moist just following behind them.
Super important there too. If you currently see 100 Thieves being in that second place, so many of these points that were distributed by Moist getting in that 4th place, 33 total points in this lobby. This is the last time, once again, that these two groups will be playing in the group stage to see which of these teams are going to be sitting already in the winner's bracket or which ones are already going to be starting off in the first round of the loser's bracket.
Yep, there's a couple of teams, you know, Ascend sitting down there. 3 points only so far in this series, Vicky. But as we said, they're kind of chilling at the moment. I mean, whether you come 1st or 20th doesn't matter as long as you do make your way into that winner's bracket. It's in the bracket stage, the winner's final, or I guess, actually, yeah, in the winner's final, because that's where the seeding points come from. You can't get them from elimination round 2. That's where it matters where you stand in that lobby.
And other teams are feeling very similar to that too. That's why we saw LG take a very similar fight. All right, that was game number 4, our first game on World's Edge in the books. We come back from this break. We got game number 5, continuing on onto World's Edge.
లాగైతుంది విశాఖలో ఉన్నావు చిత్తూరులో ఉన్నావు ఈరోజు నాకు itu akan diskon చూడందారని పట్టుకోవచ్చు ఏమి దాక్కుందిరా పొంగులది ఏమో ఉందా పడుకుంటున్నారా నేను
Back Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here for the ALGS Championship. We are done with game number 4 on World's Edge, where Moist were able to take it. Patience pays off eventually, and the crowd is getting wired up while we get set up for our 5th game.
Yeah, I like that little snippet we had in the break there. Who got the most points in Apex South during Split 2 there. Obviously, a lot of Dreamfire fans in the chat. And, you know, maybe just other people thinking like, wow, they look so good here. And I'm not surprised that they've chosen Dreamfire because, honestly, out of the Apex South teams we've seen so far, they are looking phenomenal.
Absolutely, too. Honestly, seeing the way that Dreamfire was able to perform yesterday and then even continue a bit of that performance at the beginning of today. This is a lobby where, at this point in time, a lot of these teams have already found out where they're sitting in the overall standings and what that could mean for them in the final bracket, whether they stand in the winners or they're going to have to start off in the loser side. Getting set up now, though, and seeing the consistency from Black Hand is beautiful. Seeing Moist make the comeback after sitting on the bubble of having to play from the loser side is also beautiful here. Getting set up now, we saw that they were able to quickly rotate right outside of Overlook around the north side, away from the chaos before it even started, from the east side of the map, and we can see that continue most probably going into this game too.
Oh man, and with the dropship pathing right now, Moist, you know, we call them like the turbo rotate team, right? It can't get any better than this. The dropship literally landed them within seconds of the game starting. They've got a ring console. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in God spot by the time other teams even put their feet on the ground.
And when they're playing for that final circle positioning, you know how Moist is when it comes to those quick rotates. The ring console, like you mentioned, the crab drift, they need to grab something incredibly quickly. There's that jump tower that's over to the side of Overlook too. If they don't have an evac tower or just want to hold on to it. Taking a look at what their next plan is, and MT's already got in a blue Evo. And here's that 50-50 for Ascent. They decided to commit on Harvester.
Yeah, this time they're ready for it, and they will take that fight. As we talked about last time, there's kind of no reason not to, honestly, at this point, with over 100 points to their name. They will continue to try and take on LCDF. By the fact that Cyclops has the gold armor on him right now, Vicky, you would assume that once again they have won the Jump Master battle and got down there to the honeypot loot at the bottom of the lava.
You're too slow, and Lucita Franz is going to be able to get away with that. And a gold rampage. Cyclops just ate everything, left only crumbs for aimbot.
Okay,
because Aaron to deal with.
Yeah, they are dipping. No, sorry, they're chasing Ascend. Yeah, okay, so Ascend went south. I was just thinking last time, Ascend obviously went north and then eventually made their way to Monument. Just with how the fight has panned out this time, they are actually trying to track down Ascend. Kick, who get Lava Siphon all to themselves. Who knows? Maybe they'll come a-knocking.
Oh, he found Lufka. He got the heady onto Lufka. All right, chasing them down. Kashira's like, nothing to see here. You know, maybe we have some regrets at the same time. It's kind of free points at this point. And also playing inside of a little crevice on the outskirts of where Onyx Esports is looting at Tree. They've already started rotating to the southern buildings right at the front of Tree. Maybe looking to craft later on, but little do they know right ahead of them. Slicita France is trying to hunt down that last member. On the other side, it's Team Singularity over by Geyser, also finding themselves in a fight against FC Destroy. Fighting outside the circle too, as Elysium pops the Beast of the Hunt.
Okay, there's the Motherload coming in already. One of the quicker ultimates to charge. Ascend is completely eliminated as these two teams go at it over at Geyser. FC Destroy currently just using that. Wow, actually a little bit of information there coming out of the Fuse ultimate.
Yuka grabbing on top of the roof.
Hello.
Ooh, drops right down too, tries to get out of their line of sight, avoids and shifts his way away from the line of sight of the Arc Stars. Team Singularity have taken control over the inside of this building. No Digi, releasing to work with the Volts, but it's fine. Runs right past it. Oh, the Arc Star breaks down the door, looks in two different angles. I do like the approach that we're seeing from Team Singularity, but now another team has involved themselves, and it's Kick with a third party.
Exactly, Kick comes in off the back of this, and hopefully they can sort out their differences while they're inside here, because if they peek their heads outside or even, you know, past the jail bars on the windows there, I dare say Kick is going to have some bullets for them.
Every single squad engaging in that fight has backed away, wanting no business, and to look at what the outcome may have been. just trying to rotate away from the choke point of Geyser.
Well, it's kind of serious business time, right? I mean, you know, you've got teams, you've got 2 games left to try and grab those points and make their way into winners bracket. For some of these teams, like Blackhand, that's not such an issue. For some others, like Onyx that we were looking at before, Singularity, they do need a good amount of points here to make it through. And they've only got 2 games in which left to get them.
What's interesting is that looking at where the circle is going to be pulling, we got another very similar circle to our previous game, actually. It's going to be pulling towards the east side of Skyhook. Maybe more so towards the east than we saw in the last game.
The shift over towards the east does make me think it's a bit more likely to be like a survey camp circle here, Vicky. Probably, I still don't think it's going to be the one that goes all the way north to like the respawn beacon kind of area on the train tracks, but you know, we'll see. Either way, we may get that split. Most teams, okay, you can see quite a few down on the southern strip of the map still, but not quite as many, like Riddle Order and whatnot. They were all fighting towards Overlook last time, but they have made their way a bit closer in towards Epi.
Also had my eyes on Moist, who already went for that rotate like we were expecting off the rip, and they've already found themselves some safety inside of a building north of Survey, which is important because if this circle does pull north, that's a good spot to rotate from if you're inside one of those northern buildings.
And Moist, as we said, they've got the beacon right. They're one of those bellwether teams that you can kind of have a look at them and be like, well, if they think the circle's here, then well, there's a pretty good chance it's going to end up over there. And they haven't chosen that northern tunnels side this time. They have chosen to go towards Survey Camp.
LG Chivas playing up the low ground right here over by Lava Siphon. You mentioned it before, 3 teams in the southern side outside of the zone as it's closing in already. They pop the Beast of the Hunt, and IPG do have height advantage for now. Calls out the zip line, he heard it and beams them right off the moment they pop their head. It's Nizul, who is the victim of the beamage from the R9. And in the distance, Gehuagan is here. Where are you running? Where are you going? Get back over here. With the Hemlock, this is just IBG getting some extra kills. Again, it's one of those teams that don't really feel at risk considering their performance in the other lobbies that they've played in.
Yeah, not at all. They're actually going hard hunting for that last member of Luminosity there. As you can see, Yanya off to the bottom of the screen there. That said, once they get back into zone, they may have some other teams setting their sights on them with Singularity and FC Destroy currently in the northern parts of Lava Siphon.
I love the patience. Nothing to see. Smile and wave, boys. Gonna be able to heal up just for now, but he's got 2 syringes. He's got 2 med kits. Circle's not too far away, depending on how he wants to rotate around Lava Siphon and avoid IBG. But they know that there's still 1 left. They're looking around. They know he's still in the circle. Can he get away? We'll find out soon. Now with the Overlook.
Come back next episode on ALGS.
The next fight against IBG, and also seeing the fights that have already been happening over by Skyhook. But it looks like Yanya has been able to find some safety, some room to breathe. He's literally right behind him and still was able to get
the banners.
The final banner here. Okay, good moves for Yanya.
I mean, you know, for IBG to hold out for that long, I'm surprised that they didn't camp the banners a little harder, right? I mean, if you're going to look anywhere, that's potentially where they're going to come back to. So either way, they did get the 2 KP, and now it's going to be FC Destroy and Singularity looking for some of those over at Harvester.
You know IBG left those boxes on sticks, though, let's be honest. So there may not be much to look for once you start going back to your box. You may have to start rotating at that point if you're going to get res so far outside of circle. FC Destroy, Round Harvester, going to be able to try to craft something. See what they need here, just in case they need more meds on top of that, or maybe a purple bag. The purple bag and purple helmet are in the replicator for the week.
You know, the Herman Miller chairs, they're so good for your back, and I've got to say, Hammer Drill is probably using them in the least, like, ergonomically good way possible there, with, like, the full shrimp lean forward. But hey, maybe he's close enough to the screen and it just really helps him zero in. I don't know.
Dino, didn't you get the word that if you hug your face against the screen, you just play better, you just become a better player?
Right.
So
that's why I'm not pred. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how it goes. As long as your nose touches the screen, you'll probably hit pred this season. So that's just a note for everybody watching at home too.
I'll grab some super glue.
Leaning forward, LCDF. Having 2 gold Evos. Purple Evo on top of that, rocking some good loot here as IBG involving themselves in the fight over by Harvester, maybe catching that team that was crafting, which was FC Destroy before. having to be careful. No digit threat on that R9, but maybe it doesn't even matter at this point. We're seeing some trades going down as Ziki finishes off Hammer Drill, gets a knock on top of that earlier. IBG, Ziki finishing off FC Destroy, catching them slipping when they were in the middle of trying to get some extra meds from that crafter.
Yeah, and even the end of that fight there, I don't know if FC Destroy were just saying, like, okay, we're done for, I'm going to go for the, just grab that one extra KP before we dip. But it did seem like they were a little bit too focused on the down members rather than the ones of IBG who were still up. That said, IBG have once again put themselves in a position where they're very much in the ring, hopefully, at this point. You know, harking back, of course, to their old name inside the ring, right? But hopefully they've got the crafter there and they can pop enough med kits out of that to get themselves back into safety.
I wonder what's going on. I was just about to say, what is happening in LG world? Luminosity. Hawkins didn't have any meds, or he does actually, but he's leaning forward, maybe just trying to see if he can inch his way while the circle's closing in. They've already been limited on loot to work with while a fight is happening, and waiting for them on the other side of when the circle closes. It's Team Singularity facing off against Area 3 Tech.
See the Burglar's best friend just allowing that Loba to get away, and unfortunately LG, even with the respawn, gonna have to leave a man behind here. You don't love to see it, but it does start to make you wonder what the point of the respawn was if neither of those other two members get back in.
Fortunately for the little blood that was left behind by LG, that was Nizul, unfortunately, that cannot get picked back up. He also, obviously, when you res, you don't have your ultimate, it takes more time to come in, and he didn't have Beast behind to start running through. But Le Citer France looking great. Rocking the car, the triple take, taking another pick to their name too, so some extra KP that they so desperately need since they're on the bottom end of the overall standings in the second to last game that they could play in. But playing outside the circle and knowing that there's a team waiting for them in the safety of that circle, Team Singularity, we'll be able to meet up with them soon, and IBG may be right behind them.
Okay, so now taking a look at the circle, it has actually gone quite northern here. Now, when you get a circle, especially if the next one, what is it, like the 5th circle, splits that highway, it is so important to be on the north side of it, right? The teams up there, I would say, like 80% of the time, will win.
Such a good point, because you also have that lip that you can LOS and play a little head glitch as playing around the knockdown shield. I mean, there's no head glitch to really play off of there. In that situation, you're getting pinged by a 30-30, and here is Exit involving themselves in this fight. On the other side, though, is going to be 100 Thieves to the north of Monument. Kick. So many teams are found in the south side of the circle, and it's closing in less than 15 seconds.
I mean, this is just a wild lobby. Once again, this is like the Overlook fight all over again, and I was looking at the map there, being like, okay, are Exec going to commit? Because if they do, Element 6 is on the back of them as well, but right in the thick of things, it is Singularity, IBG, and LCDF.
I mean, you know I love chaos, but this is a different level of chaos right now. Singularity taking to the skies from the gravity lift into then getting the evac tower, already getting ahead of the curve with the circle closing in to beat a lot of these other teams to get a better position, but they're not the only ones. Exit called in an evac tower, as well as Under Thieves waiting outside that circle to gatekeep them. The Citer Fonts, unfortunately, cannot get away. They get eliminated, and 100 Thieves positioning themselves here are also able to see where the other teams are able to rotate from the skies.
Oh man, Arden's got a Guardian Angel managing to stay alive on that rotate. But, okay, let's have a look at Dreamfire here. They're back in Skyhook, and they've got NRG just ringing them right now. Just below them, though, it's KCP versus Blackhand, trying to dodge that black hole. KCP gonna try and use that gravity lift. Oh man, there's so much cover here for Blackhand, though, and if they don't get this done soon, Exit will destroy both teams, I guarantee you.
Well, that's one way to try to force a team outside of a Newcastle wall, and then you get stunned just for another team to try to third party and take a different off angle. It's Exit coming from the skies there. What are you resing here from the Newcastle? We had the purple knockdown, so it's not like you have extra health as if you had a gold knockdown shield. So now Exet gets a benefit as KCP are eliminated.
Yeah, huge amounts of KP going over to them there, and because they get that fight so easily, they can now turn around and think about 100 Thieves, maybe even Dreamfire, who are back towards Skyhook.
Oh, continuing on this fight though, with the circle pulling so far northeast. We get to see where this next circle is going to be pulling. It's going to be pulling towards the survey camp, building that Moist called out from the very beginning, and that tall rock that has that natural landform that Certified Esports can start rotating on top of if they're quick.
Team Singularity versus Element 6 with what is left of Epicenter in the circle. Element 6 are going to trade that first kill out. Now they're a little bit on top of things. Too close range really to get that knuckle cluster using. Just trying to finish off someone to get the armor swap. Will do that. And Singularity go down, but 100 Thieves are in the hunt. It's just a pops the mother load to try and retreat, but that'll do nothing. But put out some fireworks to celebrate 100 Thieves winning.
All that hard work from K-Swinny to be shut down by 100 Thieves. Rotating from the south side of the circle, and alongside them is going to be Exit and Dreamfire engaging in the fight in the mouth of the cave here. Dreamfire, though, have a better rotation. They can just rotate through the cave if they so wanted to, maybe go through the choke point by Survey, or it looks like they're actually opting to overcommit and actually rotate from right behind Exit here.
They don't choose that route. They want to take the hard way, and they're going to try and make it through Exit here. They do get on top of them. Both teams trying to slide down the hill and keeping their mind on that zone as it pushes them further and further towards Survey Camp. You can see members of both teams dropping, and 3MZ, who has gone off for his team, is very unhappy about that.
Honestly, it could have been a live or die situation there because Luka was waiting for them to choke. It was IBG, so even if they decided to go through that choke point, they would have been sandwiched between Exit and IBG.
It's one of the best spoiler spots in the game, honestly. You know, this is such a great spot when teams have to rotate into Survey Camp. It's quite a safe one, honestly.
IBG playing this out as a duo, getting the last member of Exit, which was Nocturnal. Also getting that extra loot from his box before they start rotating right back to that high ground. Rock, here comes the gravity lift. Thank you very much. They desperately needed meds, so that's why they were able to get that last straggler. So thank you very much, Nocturnal. And while they are waiting here, the teams that are situated inside these buildings, so that way you guys know they're safe currently in Survey, but we'll have to move eventually in the next 35 seconds. It's J-Lings, 100 Thieves, Moist still in that building, Onyx, Riddle Order, Starter Fight, and IBG left alive here.
Yeah, so okay, here we get the best view possible of what's going to happen next. As you can see, the train tracks are not in, so that means Starter Fight playing on the northern side there don't get the advantage they do if the ring had moved a little bit further up. Riddle Order, as long as they can keep out Starter Fight, who you can see just trying to constrict space on the north and western side here. They just need to worry about Starter Fight. If they clear them out, we really like their spot. Meanwhile, those teams down the bottom who were around the buildings, 100 Thieves, Moist, and Onyx, it's going to be a tougher, much harder entrance into the zone for them.
Yeah, with Riddle Order getting ahead of Starter Fight, they're in probably the best position until this circle closes and Starter Fight is forced into their line of sight. Riddle Order will need to keep up the pressure onto them. IBT also feeling the pressure from Riddle Order on the other side as they're holding two different angles to make sure that there's extra pressure on the teams in the circle and Starter Fight that's outside the circle.
Yeah, so Moist are good here for the moment, right? Unless someone starts pushing into them, but too many teams are busy fighting on the outside. That's Onyx and 100 Thieves here. Oh, can't quite make it out alive. J-Lings will be probably dealing with IBG. There you go, they go down. Onyx, can they get the reset here? I think everyone else is just too worried about everything else going around, and Onyx probably will make this.
With Onyx, or rather Moist, oh, okay, I spoke too soon. I was gonna say Moist haven't left their building. They poked out just for that, and they were able to get Raggy.
Yeah, a little bit of help from, I think it was Riddle Order maybe as well. I thought they'd be too preoccupied taking on Starter Fight here, as J-Lings are actually rotating right underneath them.
Riddle Order once again have the high ground, but look who is neighboring that right behind this. Rocking
oh no, they don't see that at all! They just drop down straight into the shark's jaws!
J-Lings! JFW gets taken out, but now this is the green light for Starter Fight, and Moist Esports have an opportunity!
This is a terrible blunder, and it means Moist, they are going to take advantage of that immediately. The gravity lift up on top, Riddle Order. I don't think they can do anything about this.
Oh my god!
He hit the 360!
What a beast! 360 Graver shot into the top true combo! Moist take back-to-back wins on World's Edge!
Spin it up, boys! Right round like a record! Oh my! Would you ever think you'd see that on stage at LAN? He can't believe it. I can't believe it. The crowd! The noise we got up after he hit the shot, they can't believe it either. Incredible finish to that game from Moist.
That was disgusting. And then the smirk when we come back to them after they take the dub. You know those comes from, you know I'm pretty nasty. You know they're feeling themselves after that one. Shoot, everybody would at that point.
It wasn't even the pop-off, it was like sheer disbelief.
He was smiling. He was smiling a little too hard out there. But that was, I mean, if you hit a shot like that and then get back-to-back wins, I mean, come on. 5 kills. Another first place finish. They heard they were on the bubble. Said, you know what? This is what we like. Better late than never. Gotta keep you wanting more from the Moist Boys.
Where is there to go from there, honestly? 2 in a row. Crave at 360 to win it. I feel like I'd almost want to hang up the mouse and keyboard at that point. You've done, you peaked. There's nowhere to go. Still 1 game left, Overkey.
Final game.
I mean, look, Moist have won 3 in a row before. It happens. They do it in high-pressure situations. They've done it in a regional finals in APAC South. So I don't know. Maybe it's destiny here, and they've got 1 more in the tank.
Maybe they just want to feel something. They want to feel the pressure. Just wait till the very end. But again, back-to-back. Again, you also mentioned you've seen it happen 3 times in a row. Very possible here if it's in the works. But you could only expect after those back-to-back wins what the overall standings in general are probably going to look for them.
You dare say that Moist are going to be tipping their toes a little bit closer to the top of our series leaderboard there, Vicky. All right, let's take another look at that final circle, and oh boy, I really hope we get the view on MT here. Couple of red weapons for the team. Actually, it almost feels like they're playing Loba right now with how much they've got in their bags for them, the Prowler and the Kraber here. You know, as you heard, they were just watching that kill feed and being like, oh god, these teams are getting knocks against each other. You know, Riddle, they really were in a great position until they dropped down. This is what it's meant for, you know, long range, sniping. That's what you expect out of the Kraber. And then MT, he has a different idea.
I want to see it do it again. We're definitely going to see it. We're probably going to see it a million more times in the future.
Oh, I hope so. Will you ever get tired of this? That's the question.
It's the fact that I cannot believe Jaylings pushed onto Riddle like that. And Riddle jumping on top of them and not knowing. That was the grief of the century of giving Moist Esports all the opportunity to take height that Riddle was on top of.
Oh
since the last ring of the gravity lift.
Was that like a 720? Was that a 1080? This man's snowboarding up here.
I can't. Back to back, taking a look at the team comparison. Taking first place after that game. Meanwhile, look at the damage output that Riddle Order put down and the kills. So still, even if they didn't get the dub, they got so much KP to work with. Feeling pretty warmed up, I mean, but you've got 1 more match left, Gino.
Riddle is smiling, definitely smiling after that. I mean, even if you got taken out by that, I feel like even the being on the receiving end, you still got to smile. And if there's any team that you can count on smiling, it is Riddle Order and their fans, as you can see there.
Let's take a look at the match results after that insane end game. Black Hand, though, with their consistency, probably still topples the leaderboard, but in match number 5 alone, it was just Moist standing on top of the rock, coming in with the Kraber, spinning around town for them to get 5 KP and the dub. Riddle Order right after them with 10 KP. Start a fight. We're playing incredibly safe. Didn't really engage on the north side of those tracks. Instead, started inching their way forward before Jaylings were underneath the rock right below Riddle Order at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, it's very rare to see someone get to the top 3 with 0 kills, right? But hey, you take the placement points there any day of the week. Certainly putting them above the bottom 10 teams that we can see here for match 5. And yeah, look, you know, a couple teams that send Black Hand has taken it easy at this point, honestly. They're just cruising into that winner's bracket, but a couple of other teams certainly need to make their way up. I don't, we may not get those until match 6 has finished, Vicky, but you know, it's going to be so interesting to see which teams have crept up past the 100-point mark.
It's a good point. The teams that were in the bubble right before we jumped into this series with KCP sitting in 14th, Moy sitting in 16th. We do know that has shifted completely looking at the total series results thus far. Black Hands still lead the way. Moist in third though with 50 points.
Yeah, wow, it's a big effort from the teams up the top there and doing it in style as well. I mean, MT on the Kraber is going to be, I think, a highlight of this LAN and a highlight of ALGS for times to come.
Did the highlight that we showed right before we jumped into game 4 give them the power-up that they needed? As the cheers come in from the crowd, I'm going to throw it to Peeps. I hear he's actually tuning in with Orax, having the watch party.
Vicky and Gino, thank you so much. We are here with Orax and Wise Thug here, the French representatives of the ALGS. Fellas, how does it feel to represent ALGS to everyone in the world that speaks French?
It's an honor to be here. I'm really happy. I'm in Wise Thug also. It's really cool, amazing event. We were here the last 2 times also in London. It's really cool, really, really cool.
I love it. I love it. And how do you feel?
I feel great, man. I just want our French guys to perform a little bit more, you know, aggressive. But I have good hopes for tomorrow.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. Vive la baguette.
My man. So, what are your top 3 teams, favorite teams in the ALGS?
Les Cités de France, TSM, and Fnatic, I'd say.
Solid lineup.
I mean, to be honest, there are only 2 teams right now on apexlegends. It's Dark Zero and TSM, but we support LCDF. You know, they are the French team. Only French team with 3 players from France, so we are for them too, rooting for them.
I love that, man. You guys are keeping it real with the French. All right, so one team to win it all. You got to, you know, place a bet. Who do you guys got?
TSM.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. What about you, brother?
To be honest, I'd say Alliance for the Europe or LCDF, I hope.
It'd be nice to see somebody new to win. You know what I mean? No matter what, we have some of the sweatiest Apex ever. But I think that's it with our boys Orax and Wise Thug here. Vicky, Genome, take it away.
Thank you so much. We the people. Orax, you guys are fantastic. Where's the Cité France? Je ne sais quoi? We need to see more? We have to. They have to come out. They have to perform. I mean, they have one more game. Hopefully they make the comeback tomorrow here. But again, they have one more chance and after performance that we've been seeing thus far with some of our teams that were willing to risk it all. Now some of these teams, the other side, the bubble teams, playing much more safer, playing for placement. We have one more match in this group series to see how everything plays out in the overall stand.
And I'm hoping some of those teams start to throw that out the window, right? That's what you want to see. Game 6, this is their last chance to make that difference up between the elimination bracket and the winners bracket, right? And that's when you just have to go for it. You know, they'll be tallying up those points. They know what to aim for. And teams that are close to that right now, teams like Singularity on 95, they can confirm their place. KCP on 89, Onyx on 84. These are, look, I've got I think this is an updated stats run here from Liquipedia. It'll be close to that if it's not, and these teams do need to make up some points here to grab a winner's bracket slot.
Having a little baseline to at least see where things are going to be shifting after this game. Let's not waste any more time, everybody, in our second series, final game on World's Edge. Let's get started. Will we have a triple win from Moist? Will we have a new winner? Ooh, I needed to let the crowd ring it through a little bit. We have some split up chants. I hear Dreamfire, Riddle Orders out here. Let's get started. And coming off to the side, Moist actually get an advantage considering that the dropship ended up starting off on the east.
So once again, we do have the contest going down LCDF. This time it looks like they don't actually make it to the middle first. Oh, we get a gold charge rifle. Not exactly what you want to pick up in a contest. Last time it was the gold rampage. So much better for the other team. But once again, LCDF do seem to get that honeypot loot.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was split, actually. Okay, so maybe Lufka went for the shield, and then we saw Psychop go for the gun, so maybe they both landed exactly the same time and just had to split that.
Timing-wise, it would make sense since they had to fight around those bins when they were both trying to elevate themselves to the high ground here, as Lufka is going to be able to try to find an opportunity with the alternate and the headlock. Oh my goodness. Oh, he has to reload. Backing away, though, on the other side. Postkill, unfortunately, gets cleaned up. They have 2 knocks, though. Ascend have a number of advantages. Kashera on the other side.
Oh, look at that. I think that was actually the full stick with the knuckle cluster. Ascend do come out on top this time. So both teams, you know, they managed to get out in games 4 and 5 here, but Ascend finally saying this is ours. We'll take Harvester, thank you very much. And then, honestly, it'll be a pretty quick rotate over towards the Geyser.
All right, change up on the circle, you know. Gotta have some change up here when you've been over to the north side of World End for so long, while Kick is also having some progress here. It's a double crack onto the Bang and Horizon. They are able to get the first initial knock, make it 2 onto Lemon. Kick already having the advantage too, exiting out of Lava Side bin though, sliding in. Not in the way that you would want. And they are able to clean up Area 310, our second team that we say goodbye in this lobby too.
That was a little bit scary. Still easy, mate. Why have you got the Space Mace out? Come on. Get your gun ready. Either way, they had it in the bag, so Kick will pick up those kills. I wonder if that meant, I'm assuming Area 310 were, you know, dropped directly into Lava Siphon there. That's how they got together so quickly, unless they came off a tree. Either way, it was a very, no, of course, Onyx are in tree. So Kick, once again, just like contest after contest, these guys are so practiced at them now. Hopefully that, you know, does them well if they, because I think they're going to be making their way into the elimination bracket.
Especially on Lava Siphon.
Yeah, exactly. If you keep going there, there's pretty much no way to avoid a contest. Teams will be coming at you.
Also seeing the fight between Ascend after they were able to claim Harvester from that 50-50 that we saw earlier. It's NRG on the other side with not as great evil shields as the opposition from Ascend here.
90 plus
Does have some good weapon loadouts here for Guild, as well as the gold Evo that he can at least rock. Looking behind him, he sees the Watson fence line in that choke point. Ascend actually opting to rotate away from this fight, maybe trying to already get ahead of where the circle is going to be pulling, because since it is going to be Geyser, they could rotate on the north side of Lava Siphon, closer to the bridge, or they will inevitably be met with Kick.
You can see guys very much populated by the APAC teams there. And then it was Team Singularity just on to the north in the choke. The way this circle is pulling, I think it's almost certain it's going to end up somewhere in Geyser, though it can be quite hard to tell whether it's going to be one.
Oh my, no! No! They were waiting for them to rotate in front of their face. They got ahead of them in the rotate, waited in the corner, and they were just ready to strike onto NRG. Even closing out the door with the reinforce on the Catalyst.
We're seeing that more and more, aren't we? I mean, it feels like the teams are just getting better at predicting where the other teams are coming in. And they're like, hey, I mean, I don't know if going forward is really going to help us here. We're probably going to get to our position one way or the other. Hey, why don't we just sit here, rat it out, because we know where the other teams are rotating. But it's not done yet, because Dreamfire have also pulled up.
We're definitely going to get him, and then Dreamfire now on the other side with Vita losing out. Energy finally getting called out too. Ooh, the piercing spikes able to get the knock into Kashera though.
Yeah, you can see they're all shoved into that back room though. If Roy pops, he's used the piercing spikes already, obviously, but he's got the Dark Veil. I don't know if he can use that to try and just pull its way into that back door. He actually is going to use that to try and stave off any third parties. That's not too bad. Still 2 nades in his back pocket, though.
I love the option coverage. He reinforces the back door, puts up the wall so that way the other door doesn't have line of sight of the res, and there was already smoke grenade right in front of them when they popped that res. So they have both doors covered inside this building, tosses out the Arc Star, 3MC playing on the other side of these piercing spikes, while on the other side, another fight between IBG and LG.
Yeah, this is an important fight. This could be God's spot. We'll have to wait and see at zones 3 and 4 where it does pull, but teams will absolutely in for one of these back buildings because it is so important, especially nowadays with Catalyst. This is a very reinforceable and playable spot. Ascend are going out.
Ascend get taken out after jumping on top of NRG where they left a rat before they were taken out. And I like how you highlighted this building in Geyser. That is usually the building where we see the final circle pull to.
Yeah, okay, so Dreamfire obviously winning that fight with Ascend going out, and KCP lurking around though. Dreamfire now, you can see they're stacked up 2 gold armors and a purple to take it to KCP, picking up even ultic cells in those boxes so that they can reset those ultimates as fast as possible before they take this next fight. And you can see, if they push that, there's a massive armor disparity between the 2 teams.
Literally night and day here. Look at Dreamfire. Double gold, purple, white napkins on the other side.
I mean, just taking their time, you know, they'll be picking up, they'll be prioritizing bats, grenades, ultic cells right now before they do push it out and try and take on that next fight.
IBG get eliminated in your feed. Yanya in trouble, also getting knocked. It's the fight that's happening on the outside of this lava siphon area that have to start rotating into the edge of where the circle is going to be, where Kick is already holding the high ground building overlooking Siphon.
Moist, you know, considering they're coming in from Overlook, it looks like, I think they didn't get Beacon. Right, okay, that would make sense because, you know, it's right next to them. They could have got a very quick rotate in here, I think, if they hadn't seen where this circle was going. Nevertheless, they'll try and get through the tunnel. Just peeking through here. There's a couple of teams ahead of them, and they might eventually end up fighting for this back building.
And while that's happening, right in front of them, it's the fight for, again, the outside of the building where 100 Thieves are playing for their lives right around the break, but they're about to get pinched. You see the creeping barrage called in. Nice deletion on that black hole. Calls in the Gibby bubble so that way they can be saved, specifically Baxlon, so he doesn't take any fire from his own creeping barrage, but nobody was going to push. At least this gives them some time to reset, but it's still the difference of their evil shields.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Moist Bang ult coming in there from MT to try and put them down. He actually manages to get Baxlon down with the creeping barrage.
Wow.
And another team comes and knocking, but you don't want to mess with Moist when they are as locked in as they have been in this World's Edge.
That is actually insane. And the portal being put right in front of them too to try to contest through the armor doors of this tunnel side. Other Thieves are still alive, and LG Chivas are poking them from afar while still maintaining the building security. Looking at Blackhand, who try to inch their way through the crates of that south side of Geyser to then try to maybe get height if they can claim that building from LG.
Okay, we're getting a great view here of how Moist are trying to make this way into their circle. Okay, they call, go back. You can see just trying to smoke off different angles and work out who is ahead of them. They want that building. You can tell the way they're inching forward here. But they're not going to take it unless they feel it's safe.
Meanwhile, outside of the circle, Riddle Order, taking their time, using the crafter, start a fight, are actually looking at them right now. Don't think they have information on where the circle is going to be pulling, considering there's a survey beacon in no name, only really revealing where all these other teams are already situated in.
Yeah, so Exet very much out of the circle. They can pop in and grab probably the survey beacon in Fragment to allow them to think about their next move, start a fight. As you can see, they're holding the top of the tunnel, so they may become a factor for Moist if they move in at some point, but for the moment they're watching their backs, as they should be, with Riddle Order close in pursuit.
Patience from start a fight. Reinforcing the doors. No one's getting in here. They are going to be able to try to gatekeep Riddle Order, overlooking the outside of this tunnel. Most of the action is going to happen in Geyser, though, once this next circle is revealed. Some of these teams are going to be fighting inside of those buildings, and then when the next circle after that shows that they could be pulling towards the east side, that's when these teams are going to get funneled outside of those geyser buildings.
Yeah, exactly. That next circle pull will be a telltale one. Okay, it actually shifts down to the pills at the southeastern side, so it'll probably be ending somewhere underneath that building. Blackhand at the moment do have Godspot. Can they hold on to it? You can bet your bottom dollar there are going to be teams just like evacing right on top of them, all around them. It can be a tough spot to hold. If it ends on that back building, you are so much safer. It's a lot easier to repel teams as they come in, but the spot Blackhand have here, actually, well, they've got the Watson. Okay, perfect pick here for that open ground. As we said, not as many other cryptos. Ascend, that's it, they're out already. So I think that was the only, I'll double check. I think that was the only other crypto team in the lobby. This could be fantastic news for Blackhand.
It's absolutely huge too because of the fact that aside from the building itself having that slight high ground, the way to get to where Blackhand is has a slight lip where you're forced to approach from the low ground, and it can be a very difficult rotation unless you can move in for a third party, and Blackhand finds themselves in a fight, which is not something I'm expecting. Moist also rotating through the Vault Tunnel and pinch between start a fight and 100 thieves here. Let's tune into a listen-in with Moist Esports to see where they're going to start rotating from.
I got none. Pussy, how much I got?
Quality. Antena?
M40. We can kill them on one zone's close. It's going to be a really isolated fight.
Yeah, they're not.
Jesus Christ, what is that? Fucking ear raped.
Okay.
Team from height.
Yeah, we just got to hold. Use nades if we need to.
106 on one. They're walling. Yes, smokes.
I'm getting to you.
They're here. They're like.
We need to play this left side, I think. Put them in the pinch.
Yeah, I'm down. I smoked them. Selling and falling back a bit. They're team fighting mechanic too.
Am I good?
Play our left side, Pussy. Team in tunnel behind us as well. Behind us.
Better kill these guys.
Working them. Okay, almost cracked one. I'm batting.
15.
I got smoked. I got Tyson. Batting.
I got Horizon Odin.
No, that's mine on you. People, come to me.
I'm trying, we're naded.
We have to fight the team behind, I think.
I'm just dead.
Oh,
what the fuck is this?
I think we just need to have a
Don't stress.
Wow, Moist, nothing they can do about that. They're wrapped on by multiple teams and started by 100 Thieves, and I think there's another team in there as well. Riddle Order looks like that was. Yeah, unfortunately, just absolutely nothing they could do. They would have had to fight a team way earlier, been way more aggressive, I think, to make anything happen. So it's 100 Thieves here, really, with just a loot bonanza in the tunnel. I mean, who needs the loot vault when you got all the boxes?
I mean, when you have positional advantage closer to the ring than any of these other squads, that when Moist gave up that position, they allowed 100 Thieves to move there for free. That was what they had to pay when they wanted to try to gatekeep, start a fight, or Riddle Order, depending on which entrance they wanted to go in through the tunnel.
Yeah, Blackhand, we've seen the next circle, and it is 100% on Blackhand here. It can only get better for them at this point. They're number one in this group here, in this series, and it's just going to be, honestly, I think it's going to be a bit of a firing range for the APEX boys here. So, Onyx, they will be able to stay in their banana, in their snake just a little bit, but you can see Jailings at the top here. They will have to actually exit those buildings to try and get a little further in.
Meanwhile, while Onyx is inside the circle, inside of that building, they're going to get pinched by Dreamfire, and on the other side, they were already poking at Exet, so they could be the other side of the sandwich. Team Singularity, as they move in from an evac tower from the choke point up the hill from Geyser to the north side, are on the edge close to Blackhand. You mentioned it before, Gino, one of the only ways to try to contest that spot is flying from the ground or flying from the sky, but it's about how you're going to be able to approach that next circle if you're going to get pinched by LG, who has rooftop of that building.
That's when you have to start playing all the angles, Vicky. You know, that's why Dreamfire are underneath here. But honestly, you know, since the we don't see Gibraltar that much in the meta anymore, playing under and around these buildings is just so much harder than it once was. Smokes, sure they can stop other teams seeing you, but the Digis exist, and teams will have them at this point in the game.
It's not from their own loot, it's off these death boxes. Onyx Esports get taken out, so does FC Destroy in your feed. 8 squads left as E6 takes on top of the roof with the Beast of the Hunt activated from Slayers. They've been here this whole time. Purple light mag in the hands with the card. Going for the reset as the creepy barrage has also been called in. Thanks to the gravity lift, they will be able to avoid at least some of that damage.
Yeah, and even if you weren't lucky enough to get a Digi, we're seeing a lot of Bloodhound here in this tournament, so they give themselves multiple options to see through those smokes. Tyler just spraying it down here. As you can see, I mean, that's why one of the reasons why Horizon is such a strong pick at the moment. You can just get in there. There's so much vertical mobility, just like we saw there.
Tyler, Control Legend here can case when he clutch it up, though right behind him is the other member. E6 get taken out by Rory. The last member alive by Dreamfire. He's playing off the knockdown skills. He goes for the quickest shield swap at the same time. But can he get away? This two-man squad is now approaching.
Yeah, I don't know. XZ are looking over at this, just trying to find some ridiculous angles. He wanted to go for the resets, but obviously couldn't with the attention there from XZ. They clean up the western side of the zone. Then you've got Jailings running away from 100 Thieves at the north. LG, they won't have that too hard a rotation, I think, to the east, actually. But in the center of it all, looking down at everybody else, we have Blackhand.
Blackhand looking to take another dub under their belt at this tournament. 100 Thieves play this out as a duo. Ooh, nice. Tossed the nade out. Was able to get a crack at the same time. Can they capitalize? Blackhand and Godspot right now as the catwall has been called up.
Finally, they've actually moved a little bit out of some of those fences just to try and worry about the teams pushing in towards their north into LG. But I'm not sure they know they're there. The cat walls are up right now. As they go down, Blackhand will see this, but all the other teams are way too focused on each other. They're just going to peek over the lip here and destroy everybody.
LG wasn't playing for the dub there, and now Blackhand are going to be able to capitalize. Well, Exit trying to get around Blackhand, but it's a full man swap from Blackhand. Well, Exit are playing this out as a duo.
Okay, gravity lift goes up again. That will circumvent the black hole. At this point, there are still 3 squads alive, but there's only 2 members for LG and Exit. Blackhand with a full reset. Once again, they'll peek down and have full vision of these other teams.
Blackhand looking to take another top gear. Exit already cracked. Gravity lift isn't going to be enough for them. Easy flash drops all the way down, and then the last member gets taken out from Exit as Blackhand are your winners for our final game in the series.
Easy flash, the Indonesian fragger there, barely even registers on his face as they win that game. They knew they had it won. It was such a great position, the perfect composition to be playing that position. And from there, it was just too easy. I mean, that's a massive lobby from them. Blackhand have come out with, I think, the second highest series score of this tournament, 73 points. Barely losing out to the 78 the Dreamfire put up yesterday, Vicky.
That's insane. And when they're already topping the overall standings for right now before we see our final group play out in their own series, what a performance from Blackhand. Catching not only so many dubs, they had a good amount of KP to their name. They didn't have a lot that game around. They have already been comfortable playing out through these lobbies. They already know where they stand at this point where they're safe to start off in the winner's bracket.
And you know, last time we saw Blackhand at LAN, I really felt like we weren't getting the full Easy Flash experience.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy has been such a Terminator in Apex South for a really long time, Vicky. And it just felt like he dropped off at LAN. And there are people who do that, right? They look good in their home region, and then when you get them to LAN, they just don't quite hold up. But now